before the weekend. I think that actually is illustrated the fact that Middlesbrough actually won the game, because I think they had to act quickly to get Tony Pulis in before another club did.
Let's go back to Wembley. Mauricio Pochettino is waiting to talk live on 5 Live Sport with George Cummins.
Mauricio, that was a perfect Christmas present from Harry Kane, wasn't it?
Of course, for Harry it's a fantastic year, Christmas for everyone on Tottenham too, because we love him, and it's a pleasure because he achieved an amazing record, and well, he broke all the records, not only on the Premier League, if not in Europe, no, and I think it's fantastic, and he well deserve everything.
Age 24, how far can he go?
Yes, game by game. That is so important. We have clear idea that we need to prepare ourselves for start the season, the year in a very good way in Swansea and then West Ham and the FA Cup. And I think now we are so happy because to finish in this way this year is always good.
People might pick up their newspapers tomorrow and see him linked with Real Madrid. Does that concern you, or is that good for you?
If sorry,
Harry Kane's linked with Real Madrid.
But the rumor in the last few years is a lot of rumor. But I think Harry Kane loves to be here and he's so happy. And rumor always are going to exist, but only for the media, not for us.
Back in the top 4, how important is it that you need to stay there this time?
It's important win games, it's important win points, to be there, fighting. That is the most important thing for us now.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Thank you.
Spurs beating Southampton by 5 goals to 2, and the final whistle has just gone at the Den. Chris Dent.
Yes, it's finished. Millwall 2, Wolves 2. Honours even in this pulsating Boxing Day cracker. Millwall at their feather-ruffling best took an early lead on the counter-attack through Gregory. Back came Wolves with an equaliser right on the stroke of half-time through Jota, and then forced a second from Roman Saiss on 55 minutes. An absolute screamer from 25 yards. Only for Millwall then to draw level again through Jake Cooper. A well-deserved point for Millwall. 2 dropped, you have to say, by Wolves, but at least they have the benefit of an 8-point cushion for a few hours at least. At a breathless Den, it's finished Millwall 2, Wolves 2.
And the final whistle has gone in both games in League One. Gillingham 1, Oxford 1, Southend 3, Charlton 1. Charlton haven't won in their last 6 now. Finished all square in League 2 between Grimsby and Mansfield, and Leyton Orient beat Dagenham and Redbridge 2-0 in the National League, and the early game in the Scottish Premiership, the only game in the Scottish Premiership today, finished Dundee 0, Celtic 2. So what we will do this afternoon between 3 and 5, we'll go round the ground. So much Premier League action, a full Football League programme as well. So as soon as the goals go in, we will be with our reporters. At 3:05, we're going to head to Kempton because it's the King George VI chase, and then at 5:30, Liverpool against Swansea will be our second commentary of the day. Andy Reid is in the studio with me, so as soon as he sees anything, he might yelp out as well as we go ahead. And let's go to Stamford Bridge, although there's a very early free kick for Burnley at Manchester United on the edge of the penalty area. We'll go there shortly, but how's it begun at Stamford Bridge?
All fairly quiet, just looking at the formation, seeing how each side is lining up, and it does look like Chelsea are playing the 2 up front with Morata back in the side and Hazard, but it's 0-0.
And back to Ian Dennis for news of that early Burnley free kick.
What it was Jeff Henrik who was coming down this near side, the left, as they attacked the Stretford end. Rojo then just cut across him and seemed to put his arm across Hendrick to give away a free kick, but also he's been shown a yellow card as the Manchester United defender. So Burnley have an opportunity now here. They're in all white, they're in front of the Stretford end. It's left of the penalty area. It's going to be Goodmanson who's going to take it. Manchester United have every red shirt back. The perfect opportunity for Burnley to stun the crowd here at Old Trafford. So it's a few yards away from the left corner of the penalty area. Goodmanson towards the far post, bobbling around, hasn't been dealt with, and it's been poked in. And Burnley take the lead. And it is Ashley Barnes who I think got the final touch, and Manchester United have fallen behind here to Bunley, whose supporters celebrate away to our right-hand side, and it is the perfect start for Sean Dyche's Bunley, and Ashley Barnes with the early goal, the free kick that was never dealt with.
I was just thinking, Andy Reid, as they stepped up to take that free kick, that Manchester United, from set pieces and crosses, have been quite poor in recent weeks. Manchester City scored both their goals from set pieces. The late equaliser for Leicester, for a team with so many big men, they don't appear to be able to organise themselves.
There doesn't seem to be too many people grabbing people by the arm and saying, get in here, and there doesn't seem to be too many people attacking the ball for all the height and their power and their strength. You want to see centre-back, or even one of your centre-forwards, and they're going and attacking, heading it clear, and they just haven't done that. Got themselves in a complete mess there and find themselves one down at Old Trafford again.
Romelu Lukaku, Ian Dennis, missed the header and then missed his kick, didn't he?
Well, it just wasn't dealt with. I mean, I was just looking at a replay there. Ashley Barnes has since been yellow card for a challenge on Pogba, but it seemed that the white shirts outnumbered the red shirts towards that far post, and United never attacked it. They never dealt with it. As soon as it dropped, the first player to meet it was Ben Mee, and Barnes swiveled and steered it in low, right-footed, and already Jose Mourinho is to the edge of his technical area. I mean, this will suit Burnley down to the ground now, absolutely.
Ashley Barnes, not long after scoring, then got booked for a challenge on Paul Pogba. Early goal in League One, and it's come at Blackpool, and Scunthorpe have taken the lead. Only won one of their last 5, but Tom Hopper has given them the goal, and it's Blackpool 0, Scunthorpe 1, and Colchester have taken the lead at Crawley. Mikael Mandron with that goal. That's his 8th of the season. The deadlock's nearly been broken at Bournemouth. Let's go to John Akers.
Almost an own goal for Bournemouth. It was a free kick for the Cherries on the left. In it came, as here's a chance for Lanzini trying to snake out a boot, but it's run all the way through to Begovic. Yeah, so a free kick from the left. Fraser whipped it in, flicked off 2 West Ham heads, the last Ayew, and flashed wide of the goalkeeper's left-hand post. Then Francis from the corner, near post header over the crossbar. 0-0 after 5 minutes.
Boxing Day football on 5 Live Sport. Boxing Day racing on 5 Live Sport. The King George VI chase at Kempton. Here's John Hunt.
Thanks, Mark. Yes, huge crowd watching on here. Dark skies got very gloomy, but my word, what a race to delight us here. And the starter's flag's gone up here. And which of these runners will join Desert Orchid, Corto Star, Wayward Lad, and many other greats? They're underway. Bristol de May is straight into the lead ahead of favourite Might Bite in second place. To the outside, Double Shuffle and Fox Norton and Thistlecrack in amongst it early as well, with the outside of Traffic Fluid not far away. T for Two's just in behind them. Whisper, the early back marker. They take off at fence number 1, which they take safely. The second is an open ditch. It comes up very quickly indeed. There are 18 to jump all told, and Might Bite and Bristol de May rise as 1 over the second fence. The 2 favourites then lead early on, and like everybody else, Cornelius Lycett watches on, gripped by the action.
6-4 favourite Might Bite at the off. 11-4 Bristol de May. Thistlecrack, last year's winner, rather crept under the radar for this year at 5-1. The others 7-1 or higher.
Into the back straight then, towards fence number 3, and Bristol de May leads Might Bite by a length. The other 6 runners all very comfortable in contention. Thistlecrack and Fox Norton on the inside. Fox Norton trying this 3-mile distance for the very first time today. Double Shuffles there as well as the jumping recommences down the far side, and Bristol de May that time got in quite close, and he's been headed by Might Bite, who of the 2 favourites produced the much better jump. Might Bite then leading, Bristol de May coming back at him now and was better at that 4th fence. Meanwhile, Traffic Fluid was awkward over that one and now drops back with Whisper at the rear end of the field. T for Two's well in touch. Thistlecrack is right in the middle of the pack, going along nicely as well as they come towards the next fence. Bristol de May jumped that one well, regained a slender lead from Might Bite. Thistlecrack's in 3rd now, ahead of Fox Norton, T for Two and Double Shuffle. Whisper at the back end of the field together with Traffic Fluid. But the deadlock broken at Bournemouth. Here's John Akers.
Bournemouth 0, West Ham 1 from a corner. Collins, who punches the air as he flashes home a near post header. Bournemouth 0, West Ham 1. Thank you, John. Not the worst bit of news as Bristol de Mai leads them still in the King George from Might Bite in second place. Double Shuffle third, and then comes Fox Norton and Thistlecrack and Tifa 2 and Whisper and Traffic Fluid as they turn now into the home straight for the first time. Fences 7, 8 and 9 ahead of them, and then round they'll go again. Bristol de Mai leading. After that earlier mistake, his jumping has now become very, very good indeed. And they did change the ground cornelius to soft before the race, didn't they? Which
not bad news for the Bristol de Mai camp, is it?
No, and he looks very happy with life as they come to this, what will be the second last next time around. Fox Norton in a little bit sketchy is jumping there. He's dropped back.
Wasn't great at Sandown the other day, was it?
No, exactly. He's now 5th or 6th as Might Bite remains in second place, and now they're coming to the 9th fence in front of the packed enclosures. Bristol de Mai that time gave it a little nibble, but he's over safely from Might Bite in second place. Thistlecrack and Double Shuffle. The crowd warming to it now with a circuit to go. Fox Norton, Tifa 2, Whisper and Traffic Fluid. Traffic Fluid's not going very well, but you wouldn't really expect him to be, would you?
One of the outsiders. Tifa 2, winner of the Corto Star Novices Chase this day 2 years ago, and Lizzie Kelly, his jockey, became the first female jockey to ride a jumps winner at grade 1 level. She's been joined this afternoon, if you missed the news earlier on, Black Corton and Bryony Frost winning this year's Corto Star Novices Chase.
Round they go again in the King George. Bristol de Mai and Might Bite. Might Bite, a spectacular horse, winner at the Cheltenham Festival last year, and Bristol de Mai that time clouted the fence. How he found a leg and got away with the air, I don't know. That
Needed
was the 10th
to, didn't
fence.
he?
He's capable of great jumps, and at the 11th he was much, much better, but that 10th fence mistake was really bad, and Might Bite leads. But Bristol de Mai, fair credit to him, he's come right back to be challenging once again. Thistlecrack in behind him in third.
And he is this horse who won last year in such impressive style, Thistlecrack, then was injured, then came back over hurdles the other day and was beaten, and he's just, people haven't been talking about him in the run-up to the King George, but going quite sweetly at the moment.
He is indeed. Double Shuffle still well there on the outside of Thistlecrack. They're third and fourth, and Fox Norton now making a move between them as well. Now there's a goal at Huddersfield with Conor McNamara.
Huddersfield 1, Stoke 0. Tom Ince, close range finish. Good work by Quana to break into the box. Ince finishes. Huddersfield 1, Stoke 0.
Whisper's just made a mistake. He's come under a bit of pressure in 7th place, as still Bristol de Mai and Might Bite trade blows here at the head of affairs. Thistlecrack's in 3rd place. Double Shuffle still well there. Fox Norton being ridden along in 5th, and behind him Whisper looks as though he's got no chance in behind them. Tifa 2 comes next, and these two leaders, like prize fighters, throwing blow after blow at each other, and each of them comes back for a little bit more. Bristol de Mai and Might Bite together there as they took off the final fence on the far side. Behind them Thistlecrack trying to win it again. Lizzie Kelly is in 4th place now, creeping closer on Tifa 2, then Double Shuffle, and surely only these can win. Whisper and Fox Norton are well beaten, and Might Bite's now taken over, and Bristol de Mai looking a beaten horse all of a sudden, being challenged for second by Thistlecrack, Double Shuffle and Tifa 2. So now they come to the 3rd last in the King George. Might Bite, the favourite, effortlessly, imperiously strides on with a great jump. Thistlecrack can't close. It's Double Shuffle, the rank outsider, who's got into 2nd place. Might Bite to the 2nd last, comes to it now, approaches the fence, jumps it superbly well. Double Shuffle, Tifa 2 and Lizzie Kelly plugging on the outside. Thistlecrack looking held in 4th place. Might Bite coming down towards the final fence in the King George. Tifa 2 still finishing off well. Might Bite, a big jump. Tifa 2, Double Shuffle. They're trying to land a challenge though with 100 metres left to go. Might Bite just in front from Double Shuffle. Might Bite is home. The favourites won the King George. Beats Double Shuffle. Tifa 2, an honourable 3rd for Lizzie Kelly. Thistlecrack was 4th. 5th home was Whisper. Bristol de Mai was 6th eventually. Traffic Fluid came next. Fox Norton was pulled up. He didn't complete, but Might Bite was more than good enough.
New star on the firmament, Might Bite, behaved impeccably today. The concerns with this horse always are, and he's returned as the 6-4 favourite, Might Bite. The concerns with him are those concerns he displayed at Cheltenham last March when he veered all over the course in the closing stages and nearly threw away the RSA chase. Today, absolutely impeccably behaved. Might Bite, didn't do anything except win the King George in tremendous style.
And we'll get reaction from Kempton throughout the afternoon here on 5 Live Sports. So whilst you were listening to the racing, here are the goals that have gone in. In League 1, Bury 0, Rotherham 1. Sheffield Wednesday, without a manager, of course, have gone 1-0 up at the City Ground against Nottingham Forest through Adam Reach. You heard about West Ham's goal at Bournemouth. Scunthorpe have doubled their lead at Blackpool. Blackpool 0, Scunthorpe 2. Chesterfield in the bottom 2 in League 2 are behind already. Chris Porter, his 10th of the season for Crewe, has given them a 1-0 lead. You heard about Tom Ince's goal for Huddersfield. Confirmation that the final whistle has gone at the Den, and the league, the Championship leaders Wolves have been held. Millwall 2, Wolves 2. What will be good news for Wolves fans as they're getting into their cars is that Cardiff are behind at home to Fulham. Tim Ream has got that goal. Cardiff 0, Fulham 1. Rotherham have just doubled their lead at bottom of the table. Bury in League 1, Bury 0, Rotherham 2, and Carlisle have just taken the lead at home to Accrington Stanley in League 2. Back to Old Trafford, where Burnley could have doubled their lead. Ian Dennis.
Yes, they could. As it is, it's just the 1-0 that they lead, a goal that came after 3 minutes from Ashley Barnes, but it was the latest chance that caused a worry for David De Gea. Cross dropped in from the right, and as Mata takes the ball into the penalty area, has a right-footed shot blocked by a tumbling Ben Mee, but it was Arfield who scooped it on the volley right-footed, and it just dropped over the top of the crossbar. But Manchester United 0, Burnley 1. Burnley soaking up a lot of the ball, but then looking to try and strike on the counter-attack.
Let's go back to Kempton. John Hunt for the SPs of the King George.
Might Bite, the 6-4 favourite, beats Double Shuffle at 50-1. Third home was T for 2 at 20-1.
Let's go to the Hawthorns next. How has Yannick Bolasie begun for Everton? Rob Nothman.
Well, it's 0-0, and a wonderful moment just a few minutes ago, Mark. You mentioned about somebody coming back from a long-term injury and the risk of being clumped by a defender. Well, Craig Dawson came in with a thunderous challenge on Bolasie, got the ball, went out for a throw-in, and Bolasie, who was on the deck, subsequently did a couple of press-ups just to reassure the crowd that all was well. Think Misbah-ul-Haq. And that was exactly what Bolasie did. Very good, Yannick Bolasie. That put a smile on everyone's face. West Brom have started much the better here, have had 2 good chances. Rodriguez's cross, Rondon couldn't quite get on the end of it. And then Phillips' excellent cross, and Brunt missed it altogether, 6 yards out. It's West Brom 0, Everton 0.
He's a bit younger than Misbah, isn't he?
He is, a little bit. Not, you swapped the Hawthorns for Lords, but it was exactly the same. Brilliant stuff.
George Grant's 15th of the season mean Notts County have taken the lead at Morecambe. Remember, on Saturday, Notts County 3-0 down at home to Cambridge, and they got it back to 3-3, but Kevin Nolan's side ahead this afternoon at Morecambe, and Livingston now 3-1 up on Dumbarton in the Scottish Championship. How has Watford against Leicester begun? Mark Scott.
Very scrappy so far, Mark. No chances for either side in the opening quarter of an hour. The main thing of note, 3 cautions already, 2 for Watford, Watson and Cavaselli, and Harry Maguire cautioned for the visitors, but nothing of note so far, I'm afraid to report. One thing, you mentioned Marco Silva earlier when you were chatting to Andy. When I've spoken to him, he's not, oh, Morris is in here, but the flag has just gone up. When I spoke to him recently about the fall-off in form, the Everton job thing was brought up. Now, he didn't want to talk about it, but speaking to some local journalists here, they've mentioned the January transfer window, and is it going to be a problem for him to convince the owners to spend money if they get the feeling he wanted to get out?
It's my view totally on that, and I can't see, I just can't see them having a full backing for him now. I reckon they'll be a little bit kind of irked by that, and it probably will have surprised them a little bit. So it's going to be a tricky, as I said, a tricky time for Watford at the moment. They need to just get the head down and try and pick up a few results.
Let's get details of that Fulham goal at Cardiff. Carl Roberts.
Well, the goal came from Tim Ream, Mark, after 12 minutes. We've had 16 minutes played now. Nodded in to an empty net. Cross came in from the right-hand side. That put Fulham ahead. But they had a chance after 5 minutes. Johansson was fouled in the box. It was the clearest penalty I've seen this season, not given by Simon Hooper, the referee. So Cardiff up against it. They haven't really threatened. 16 minutes played here. 1-0 Fulham.
Sheffield Wednesday have responded well to their manager leaving. Naz Premji.
They certainly have. It's Nottingham Forest 0, Sheffield Wednesday 1. Adam Reach with a thunderbolt from distance, the only goal of the game so far. Forest have gone close though. Kieran Dale a few moments ago pulled out a smart save from Joe Wildsmith, and Ben Brereton clean through, right hand side, goal gaping, he fired wide. It's Nottingham Forest 0, Sheffield Wednesday 1.
Peterborough going well in League One. They're 7th. They've won their last 3 games in all competitions, and they are ahead this afternoon at Bradford City. Danny Lloyd's 9th of the season has given them the lead there. What a header that was from James Collins, John Akers.
Brilliant near post header, wasn't it? His first goal of the season, back in the side today. But I tell you what, Bournemouth, they should be level in driving rain here. Callum Wilson down the right, put in a beautiful low ball on a plate for Josh King. Last season, you'd fancy him all day of the week to gobble it up. He got his feet wrong, ended up stretching with his left and putting it wide. West Ham still lead 1-0.
I'm sure some pros, ex-pros, will tell me that you can defend that, but if you get the trajectory right on that corner and the run is right, as it was from James Collins, that is difficult to defend that near post corner, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so, especially if the delivery is right. You know, it's very, very difficult to defend, because it's a fantastic header by Collins, but he just needs to get a little glance on it, because the pace is already on the ball from the corner kick. So he just needs to get a little glance on it, just direct it in the right direction, and it's a goal. Very difficult to defend, but something that teams work on. You know, that won't have just happened by chance. He'll have known where he's going, where he's making his run.
MK Dons are on an awful run of form in League One. They've won only 1 of their last 12. They're behind this afternoon. Plymouth have taken the lead at Stadium MK Dons 0, Plymouth 1, and into League 2, and Wickham have the lead at home to Newport. Nathan Tyson with that goal after 15 minutes. Let's go to Conor McNamara. Any sign of Stoke getting back into this one, Conor?
Well, they've had their best chance of the game, a clear opportunity. You've actually bet your house on Peter Crouch heading on target from 5 yards out, but I think it more hit him in the face and the nose than on his forehead, and the ball sailed over the top. Huddersfield lead the goal after 18 minutes. First ever goal for the club from Tom Ince. Colin Quanah did very good work to wriggle his way into the box to draw the goalkeeper out of position. He then flicked it into the middle, and Ince with a simple task of drilling it home. Huddersfield 1, Stoke 0.
Any sign of a breakthrough at Stamford Bridge? John Southall.
Well, Chelsea 0, Brighton 0, but just had a really good chance. The best of the game for Chelsea. Fabregas on the right, played it to Rudiger on the far post. He nodded it back to Bakayoko 4 yards out. In his defence, it came to him very quickly, but he put it wide as Hazard picks up the ball on the edge of the penalty area. But Brighton just growing into this game. Chelsea have been a bit ragged in the last 5 or so minutes, but that was a really good chance for Bakayoko. Chelsea 0, Brighton 0.
Let's go back to West Ham. Could have gone 2-0 up there, couldn't they, Andy?
Yeah, that was a great chance there. I think it was Ayew, was it? The ball was pulled back, and he really should have finished. He'd be very, very disappointed with himself. In his defence, it was on his left foot, but a striker of his quality, he will have expected the score there.
We'll go back to John Akers very shortly. Rob Nothman at the Hawthorns.
And it remains West Brom 0, Everton 0. West Brom, though, very much on top. 3 really good chances so far. The latest, Craig Dawson with a header 5 yards out. Couldn't quite get on top of it and headed it over the bar. Nothing really from Everton so far. And with the news coming in from Kempton, one has to say, looking down at the figure of big Sam Allardyce in his big coat, if I were an Everton player at half-time, I think he might bite. It's West Brom 0, Everton 0.
When did you have that one written? Did you come up with that one yesterday?
When I heard John Hunt's wonderful commentary, I did write it down, and I now chide myself because I couldn't even get the name of the team that were playing here right. It's my own fault, and I shall go back into my box now.
Let's go to Old Trafford, where Manchester United have come close to an equaliser. Ian Dennis.
Yes, they have. It was from an out-swinging corner from Mata on the far side, the left, and Paul Pogba with a looping header that Nick Pope managed to claw away as he moved high up to his left-hand side. Burnley are coming under a lot of pressure as they lead by a goal to 0, because before that Luke Shaw had ventured forward from left-back as Ibrahimovic tries to thread a ball through on the edge of the area. That's tidied up and eventually cleared by Pope, but Shaw with a pile driver, beaten out by Pope as he moved to his left-hand side, but Burnley still lead through that early Ashley Barnes goal.
Are the locals angry?
No, I think they've been quite supportive at the moment.
Oh, okay. That's me told and me put in the same box as Rob Northman. Alice Yeomans is watching Sheffield United Sunderland in the Championship.
You wouldn't get me in the box after all I ate yesterday, Mark. It's just the two of you. Sheffield United 0, Sunderland 0. Sheffield United have begun very, very brightly. They should be ahead, really. Mark Duffy attempting cross to the near post. Clayton Donaldson, who scored twice against Villa on Saturday, turned his shot just wide. 0-0.
Top two are meeting in League One. Wigan at home to Shrewsbury. Andy Giddings.
Well, it remains 0-0 after 20 minutes. It's a pretty good game. Clearly these two are bang in form. A clash of styles too. Wigan a little bit more direct than Shrewsbury, who've played it out from the back well. There's just been one outstanding chance. The Shrews midfielder Abi Agogo, 8 yards out, sending his header over. Goalless.
And the League Two leaders, Luton at Swindon. Lawrence Herdman.
Well, it's goalless, but Luton have had the game's two standout chances so far. Fullback Dan Potts up for a Sheehan free kick, blazing over from 6 yards out, and James Collins fully 40 yards out, trying to lob Lawrence Vigouroux in the goal, and Vigouroux backpedalling has palmed it over the bar. 0-0.
Notts County had doubled their lead at Morecambe. Morecambe 0, Notts County 2. And as we were saying, John Akers, West Ham should have doubled their lead.
They should. Ayew put it wide with his left foot, and since then Bournemouth have been throwing everything at them, and in comes the cross. It's headed away. It's a brilliant game, this. Ogbonna argued that Ogbonna looked to have held back Wilson as the keeper flaps at this one. They've still not got it clear, West Ham, as Bournemouth attack. They should now get it clear. So Ogbonna felt he was held back. I'll get that right. Wilson felt he was held back by Ogbonna. It was big appeals. King picked up the loose ball, put it wide with his right foot, and then Adam Smith put a shot in from 25 yards, tipped over by Adrian. West Ham lead 1-0.
Got two teams who are going for it there, haven't you, Andy Reid?
Yeah,
Bournemouth
definitely. Yeah, it looks a really good game. You know, there's some really good football end-to-end stuff. That looks a really exciting game there, and there could be goals at both ends. So we have to keep a close eye on that one.
Let's go back to Old Trafford. Ian Dennis.
Mentioned the United pressure. It's incessant at the moment. Lukaku, the latest to send over a cross. He found himself on the right-hand side as he went to deliver the ball. Waiting in the penalty area was Ibrahimovic and Rashford, and Ibrahimovic has wheeled himself up and ready for the acrobatics, but he's then clattered Rashford, and Burnley managed to survive, but Burnley still lead by a goal to 0 in front of this supportive Old Trafford crowd.
If you're joining us, just joining us rather, Spurs beat Southampton 5-2 in the early game at Wembley. Harry Kane hit a hat-trick, 39 Premier League goals in 36 games now for the England striker. 56 in the calendar year for both club and country in 52 games. The 3 o'clock Premier League scores: Bournemouth 0, West Ham 1, Chelsea 0, Brighton 0, Huddersfield 1, Stoke 0, Manchester United 0, Burnley 1, Watford 0, Leicester 0, West Brom 0, Everton 0. Back to Vicarage Road, Mark Scott.
Still goalless, but at least we have had a chance now, Mark. Chilwell away on the left-hand side did brilliantly to float it towards Okazaki, who outjumped Ziegler easily. His header, though, too close to Gomez, who slapped it over the top of the bar. Mark Albrighton had a nasty collision with Tom Cleverley. He's now bandaged up, and here's Vardy through on goal, onside, and Vardy puts it wide. Jamie Vardy, for all the world, looked like he was going to lift it over Gomez and tuck it in. Everyone was waiting for the net to bulge. Instead, the net was rattled, but the wrong side of it. Horrible miss from Vardy, let off for Watford, who were looking for offside, and got it completely wrong. Still 0-0.
He went with his right foot, Andy, didn't he? But to sort of go near post.
I think he just went to dink it over the keeper a little bit, just as the keeper was going down to his left. The keeper thought he was going to slip it to his left-hand side, and he's just gone to dink it over him, and he's got it a little bit wrong. It was really poor defender from Watford there, trying to step up against a player with Vardy's pace and his timing of his runs to try and step up and play him offside there. It's just lazy defending, really, and they're very fortunate not to be a goal down.
In the early game in the Championship, finished Millwall 2, Wolves 2. In the 3 o'clock games, there are only 2 goals at the moment, with nearly half an hour gone. One's come at Cardiff, where Fulham lead by a goal to 0, and at Nottingham Forest, Sheffield Wednesday are a goal up. Should Chelsea be ahead at Stamford Bridge? John Southall.
Yeah, they've had a couple of chances now. Chelsea 0, Brighton 0. The second of those, Cesc Fabregas, great ball, picked out Victor Moses, running in on the right of the area. His shot, though, well saved by Ryan in the Brighton goal. Also, Chappers keeping an eye on Ezekiel Charlotto, the Brighton right back today. Absolutely skinned by Morata down the left-hand side earlier on in the game. As you know, his nickname is El Galco. Now, speaking to Brighton watchers, they tell me that he's more corgi than greyhound. El Galco, of course, is greyhound. Going forward looks okay.
Of course.
As you well know.
As we all
here
know.
come Brighton, here come Chelsea now. Downward headed by Moses. Again, the goalkeeper was there. Going forward, he looks okay. But I think he could be a bit susceptible at the back, the corgi.
Danny Philliskirk, 6th of the season, has pulled one back for Blackpool in League One. So it's Blackpool 1, Scunthorpe 2. How on earth have Stoke not equalised at Huddersfield? Conor McNamara.
That was the classic pinball machine inside the penalty area. There were 3 or 4 different chances, all in success. Choupo-Moting had a sort of bicycle kick saved on the line by Yossel, the goalkeeper, got down bravely to his right-hand side. Before that, a back heel had been cleared off the line. It was a real scramble, but Stoke still trail here. Their best chance before that, Shaqiri, who tried to lob the goalkeeper, but his chip veered off target from Shaqiri. Sometimes the chips do lie. Huddersfield 1, Stoke 0.
I tell you what, Connor, that was great goalkeeping from Lussell, wasn't it? Particularly when you consider Choupo-Moting's foot was going for him very similarly to how he got kicked by Charlie Austin in his last game.
Exactly. There was a bit of talk that he might be injured and unable to play here today. He dives down to his right. It's from very close range. I mean, he's not even 2 yards out there, is he, when he's connected with it? Not much power on it, but it's going in towards the goal, and Yossel gets across and makes the save to the right-hand side. That's the best save we've had of the match so far.
Not turning into a very good festive period for Chesterfield in League 2. They're in the bottom 2. They were thrashed 5-1 at Stevenage on Saturday. They're now 2-0 down at home to Crewe this afternoon. Charlie Kirk has got the second, and Crewe aren't in great form either. They lost 3 of their last 4. Was Jack Lester a former teammate of yours at Nottingham Forest?
Yeah, he is, and a friend of mine as well. I texted him earlier on, wishing him all the best after that.
They actually got off to a good start under him, didn't they, Chesterfield?
Yeah, well, you know, speaking to him since he's gone in there, you know, there was a lot of changes that he needed to make. He didn't feel the team were fit enough, and I think he wanted to reduce things like body fat and improve on the fitness and to impose his style on them, and they got off to a reasonable start under him. And you know, but it's difficult when you're down there and you're kind of low in confidence, and he hasn't got that much to work with financially. So you know, he's doing his best there, but I'm sure he'll do a great job. He's a good lad.
Rob Nothman's climbed out of his box at Everton, but we will go there after news of an equaliser at Bournemouth. John Akers.
Bournemouth 1, West Ham 1, a scramble from a free kick. It dropped to Dan Gosling nicely on his right foot for his first goal of the season. It took a little deflection, I think, on the way through. Just wrong-footed Adrian, but Bournemouth, you could say, deservedly level. Cracker here at the Vitality, 1-1.
Yeah, they have had chances of Bournemouth. Right, to Rob Nothman at the Hawthorns.
Where it remains West Brom 0, Everton 0. Just signs that Everton have weathered the early West Brom storm, because West Brom had 3 really good chances in the first 15 minutes, all headers, and Rondon, Brunt and Dawson couldn't get the desired contact to put West Brom in front. Everton, though, just starting to settle. 1 or 2 nice touches from Balassi. It's West Brom 0, Everton 0.
Did you just see on the monitor, Andy, and it's a small monitor for Huddersfield Stoke, did you see the goal line technology for the Lursell save?
No, I didn't. Sorry, I was watching the Man United game there.
Did Conor McNamara at Huddersfield?
Mark, just going to say, I mean, you know the way we see these replays of how much the ball was or wasn't over the line? That's the narrowest margin I've ever seen since this technology's been introduced. Millimetres. It's not a goal.
Yeah, exactly. The majority of the ball was over the line, but not all of the ball over the line. Let me give you some League One latest scores. We've done the Championship, so Gillingham 1, Oxford 1 and Southend 3, Charlton 1 at lunchtime. In the games that have goals, Blackpool 1, Scunthorpe 2, Bradford 0, Peterborough 1, Bury 0, Rotherham 2, and MK Dons 0, Plymouth 1. A goal has just gone in the Championship, and it's come at Burton Albion. Tom Naylor has scored for the home side, and Leeds are behind. They've taken more points in their last 5 than they had in their previous 12 games at Leeds, but they are behind to Nigel Clough's Burton Albion. Back to Ian Dennis at Old Trafford.
Well, Burnley, who lead by 1-0 here against Manchester United on the attack. It's Taylor, the left back, with a cross that is deep inside the penalty area and will be cleared away by Massa. There's an interesting subplot to the game. and it involves the two managers. And just keep my eye on this counter-attack by Manchester United. But also I've got to feel for the fourth official, Lee Mason, because Sean Dyche, as the ball is spread out towards Mata with a cross, too close to the goalkeeper, Pope. Sean Dyche, every now and again, is berating Lee Mason, but at which point Jose Mourinho is swiveling on his heels and turning around to see exactly what Lee Mason is saying. And in fact, so much so that Jose Mourinho has just had a word in Lee Mason's ear, as if to say, are you going to allow this to continue? So it's an interesting little sideshow as Manchester United look for an equaliser.
One of the other things to watch in that game is what's happening on that left-hand side with Shaw and Rashford, isn't it? And how much they could link together, and whether that could be some kind of future for Manchester United down the left.
It could be, but the indications is that they've got another left-back lined up at Old Trafford. When Young has got forward, conversely on the right-hand side, before the two chances that Pope kept out, he delivered a delicious cross from the right-hand side. But they haven't really created a great deal in the last 10 minutes, and as Burnley just step forward once again and break up another attack, that supportive crowd are getting more and more frustrated.
Lots of players pushing and pointing at each other at Bournemouth. John Akers, why?
That's because Kouyate has been the victim of karate from Francis. He's been kicked squarely in the face. To be fair to Francis, I'm not sure whether he was looking at anything other than the ball as it came over his shoulder. But you know what a unit he is, Simon Francis, the Bournemouth captain. Well, he's put his studs up to try and bring the ball down with his right foot, and he's connected squarely with Kouyate's jaw. So there was a bit of a melee afterwards, and he's still down on the floor, the West Ham midfielder.
Stoke have just lost their captain at Huddersfield, Conor McNamara.
Yeah, Stoke who trail 1-0 here. Tom Ince's goal for Huddersfield. Jeff Cameron has dropped back into the centre of defence because Ryan Shawcross has been forced off injured, and Mark Hughes, because he's chasing the game, brings on Ramadan Sobhi. He'll play on the right of the attack. Huddersfield 1, Stoke 0. Stoke have lost Ryan Shawcross.
Let me give you the League 2 latest scores. We've gone through the other divisions. In the early game finished Grimsby 1, Mansfield 1, and these are the games with goals so far. Carlisle 1, Accrington 0, Chesterfield 0, Crewe 2, Crawley 0, Colchester 1, Morecambe 0, Notts County 2, and Wickham are 1-0 up at home to Newport. From 5:30 we are going to bring you commentary of Liverpool against Swansea in the Premier League. That will be our second commentary of the day. Anything caught your eye here at the moment, Andy?
Well, I'm just looking at Man United there, and Luke Shaw seems to have made a reasonable start to the game. I'd like to see him get a run, run in the team. I don't think left back is necessarily where Man United are having massive problems. They've got players that can play there. Young has showed that he can play there. There's Shaw there. Blinn can play there as well. I think they need to be concentrating on the centre-back position and shore up that central defence. Stop it being so leaky. Get somebody dominant in there and get somebody who can start off attacks and move the ball, pass the ball forward a little bit quicker.
It strikes me that there's huge goodwill from Manchester United fans for Luke Shaw to succeed at United. He hasn't had that many opportunities. Then the other side of that coin is going forward, he's actually looking very good, but defensively he still sometimes doesn't look quite as forceful as you would want him to be.
Yeah, he's still, talking about long-term injuries earlier on. He's probably still feeling the effects of what was an absolutely horrific injury, and he's probably still trying to find his confidence. And the only thing that can kind of get him over that is a good long run in the team. Give him 10 games in the team and see how he gets on. He hasn't really had that since he's gone to Manchester United. I think if Mourinho gave him that opportunity, I think he could come up trumps for them.
In League One, Doncaster have taken the lead against Northampton Town through James Coppinger. The former Spurs youngster Alex Pritchard has given Norwich the lead at St Andrews. Peterborough have doubled their lead at Bradford City through Jack Marriott. And speaking of doubling their lead, Ian Dennis.
What a super goal by Stephen Defoe. Burnley lead Manchester United by 2-0. It was a peach of a free kick. It must have been close to 30 yards out from goal. He hit it right-footed into the top left-hand corner. David De Gea was beaten, but that was a super free kick.
Jack Marriott got the Peterborough goal, 20 for the season for him. And to Bramall Lane next, Alistair Yeomans.
Where Sheffield United are deservedly ahead by a goal to nil against Sunderland. More good work from Mark Duffy. A drag back to John Lundstrom. Hit it first time in step of his right foot for his second goal since signing from Oxford United. It's Sheffield United 1, Sunderland 0.
And let's go back to Cardiff. Second place Cardiff. They were behind last time we were with Carl Roberts. But first, before we go there, let's go to Watford. Opening goal of the afternoon there, Mark Scott.
Riyad Mahrez has scored it, but it owed so much to brilliant link-up play between Okazaki and Albrighton. The pair combined with Albrighton's wit delivery, finding Mahrez in space at the far post, 6 yards out, nodded back across Gomez and in. Leicester probably deserving of it. They lead at Watford by a goal to nil.
That's a great header from Riyad Mahrez, back across the goalkeeper. Let's get details of Cardiff then at home to Fulham. Carl Roberts.
Yeah, Fulham still lead by a goal to nil. Tim Ream scored after 12 minutes. Cardiff haven't shirked, though. They have threatened the Fulham goal. We had a comedy moment a couple of seconds ago. Nathaniel Mendez-Lang won a free kick, and then both he and Joe Bennett went to take it and ran into each other, Keystone Cop style. Fulham lead 1-0.
10th for the season for Bradley Dack at Blackburn, and they're a goal up on Rochdale. And in League 2, Lincoln City have taken the lead at home to Stevenage. They're in a playoff spot, are Lincoln. Manchester United was so close to getting one back at home to Burnley. Ian Dennis.
Yes, within 60 seconds of that Defoe free kick, it was Rashford who cut inside, and it was a goal line clearance from Ben Mee to keep this 2-goal lead intact. Lukaku's just gone down, and there will be a stoppage in play. But Manchester United 0, Burnley 2. Manchester United, who haven't lost a home league game against Burnley since September 1962 and haven't been beaten at home on Boxing Day since 1978. A 2-0 down.
I've just realised that, you know, since I've been looking at the Man United game, I haven't really given Burnley the credit they deserve. You know, I've spoken about Man United, you know, defensively and going forward, and I've kind of almost forgot about Burnley. You know, they're 2-0 up at Old Trafford.
And deservedly so.
And deservedly so. And it's just to add to the amazing season that they're having. And you know, real testament to Sean Dyche's backroom staff and that players at Bunley and the players at Bunley. Maybe that walking along the 18-yard box before the game, maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know.
But they're well organised, and I mean that as a compliment. They don't just defend, and every player plays in their right position, which I know that sounds daft, but in this day and age, sometimes managers try and get too clever, don't they?
Everybody knows the roles within the team. You know, as you said, they do have a good shape about them. You know, they know the roles, and when you say well organised, and some people think, you know, saying well organised that means taken away from their ability. They play some good football. I mean, that goal that Defoe scored there, that free kick, takes a lot of ability to put one in the top corner from there against a goalkeeper of the quality of David De Gea.
Who's on top of the Hawthorns? Rob Nothman.
Well, it remains West Brom 0, Everton 0, but West Brom still in the ascendancy. Whether those early chances which they failed to take might come and bite them later on in the game. Alan Pardew in his technical area writing furiously loads of notes for his half-time team talk, and when you're down at the bottom you need to take advantage when you're on top. West Brom didn't do it early on, and Everton, despite not showing much so far, one wonders whether they will have a good spell later on in the game. It's West Brom 0, Everton 0.
Huddersfield are 1-up at home to Stoke, but are the visitors still creating chances? Conor McNamara.
They are. It's actually been a very good game, Mark. There's just over 5 minutes to go to half-time. Huddersfield, who've attacked particularly on the right wing with Colin Quana, and caused all sorts of problems, but Stoke have had opportunities. The latest of them, Shaqiri, free kick on the left-hand side. He picked out Crouch to the back post. I wouldn't say it was a sitter, but you just expect Peter Crouch to hit the target with the headers, and this time it flew straight up into the air. So approaching half-time, Tom Ince, who has scored the goal, drills in another shot, saved by the goalkeeper, Butland out to his left, and that will be a quarter to Huddersfield. They lead by a goal to nil against Stoke.
Good chance at Watford. Who to? Mark Scott.
Watford's first genuine chance of the game, Mark. Carrillo splitting the defence as Leicester looked for offside. Richarlison was on though, went round Schmeichel. You thought the net was going to bulge, put it into the side netting. Bad miss from Watford. Their only chance so far. Leicester still 1-0 up.
Brighton are quitting themselves well, John Southall.
Pretty pleased. Chelsea 0, Brighton 0. They're really well organised. They're in this rigid 4-5-1 formation, and Chelsea are getting frustrated. It's absolutely bucketing down now here in West London. A half chance for Cesc Fabregas, deflected shot from the edge of the area, held well by Ryan. Chelsea 0, Brighton 0.
They just seem to be, they're in quite good form at Chelsea, but when you watch them, they just seem to be struggling a little bit sometimes for the right mix, particularly in midfield.
Yeah, they do a little bit, but you know, just regarding that game there, just Chris Hughton's just come into my head there. He was a coach of mine at Tottenham and for Ireland as well. And you know, fantastic coach, and it's great to see him going on and doing so well. He's done an excellent job.
What made him such a good coach?
I think with coaching, you know, I think ex-footballers and well, not just ex-footballers, a lot of people have knowledge of the game, but it's the way you get it across. As a coach, it's the way you get your points across. It's your mannerisms. It's you know, people wanting to learn from you, people wanting to listen from you, and Chris has that about him. You know, when he speaks, you want to listen to what he's got to say. You know, you believe that he's coaching the right things, that he's instilling the right values in you.
Is he sort of tough without having to raise his voice? Because he always comes across as such a very nice man when you interview him and have a chat with him. But I'm assuming there's a steel to him, but done in the right way.
Well, you know, I only had him as a coach and as an assistant manager with Ireland, and I never really seen that other side to him. And I think that was the question that was being asked of him. Can he make that change from being a coach to being a manager? And I think he's answered that emphatically.
You heard the groans there, but they were groans. Ian Dennis and Paul Pogba going close at United.
Yeah, they were. It was from a throw, and as he sort of like rolled away his man and cut inside, I think it was Defoe who was with him. He hit a right-footed shot. It was a curling effort, and it was probably about a foot wide as Pope threw himself away to his left-hand side. But before, Andy was talking to you about how impressed he's been with that Burnley side and how well they've defended. I think that was typified by Kevin Long with a sliding block on Ibrahimovic, because Matt had just slipped the ball into him, and as he looked to try and pull back his left foot inside the inside left channel of the penalty area, Long just came across, well-timed sliding block behind for a corner kick. And before that, of course, you had the Mead goal line clearance as well. So they are working extremely hard, this Burnley side, who, let's not forget, have been away from home. They've won at Chelsea, and they've held both Tottenham and Liverpool on their travels.
Oh, that was what I just dragged that up. Burnley's results all season, just to confirm how well they've done away from home. They also won at Goodison, of course, didn't they?
They did, yeah. And Jeff Hendrick scored, which was one of inexplicably was left out from your Match of the Day 2 panel for goals of the month, because it was a super passing move from Burnley that day, and a well-worked goal. Good vision from Stephen Ward getting forward at left-back that day. But to be fair, Burnley, they have had to soak up a lot of possession. Manchester United, I would say, have had 2/3 of the possession. But I can't recall Manchester United getting round the back of this Burnley defence once. They've sent in crosses from the side, not too frequently, but I can't. The days of old of a winger getting round the back, but they haven't done it.
I just had a text from a Burnley supporting friend of mine saying, I'm in the Stretford end, there's a chance I might get escorted out. I think he's finding it very difficult to sit on his hands. If you want to text us this evening, 85058, you can tweet us at 5LiveSport. Blackburn have gone 2-0 up at home to Rochdale. Charlie Mulgrew's 9th of the season from the penalty spot there, and Doncaster are now 2-0 up at home to Northampton, unbeaten in their last 5 home games. Is it still a good game at Bournemouth, John Akers?
It's really good. It's not Tony Livesey, is it, in the Stretford
No, it
end?
isn't. No.
I'd fear for his safety if it was. It's still a brilliant game. It's you attack, we attack. There are 4 minutes of added time at the end of the half. The board's just gone up because of that karate kick on Koyate. So still 1-1. Big chance though, just a moment to go for West Ham. Lanzini wide with his right foot. 1-1.
Equaliser at Watford, Mark Scott.
What a moment for Mola Wage, his first Watford start, and he's bundled in at the far post after Leicester failed to deal with a cleverly corner. Schmeichel trying to shovel it away, but he was behind the line when he did so. Undeservedly so, I'd say. Watford are level. It's 1-1.
Half-time whistles starting to go in all the 3 o'clocks around the country. in the Premier League, it has gone at West Brom. Rob Nothman.
And it's West Brom 0, Everton 0. You really feel for West Brom. 17 games without a win, and yet they've had much the better of this half without being able to get the crucial opening goal. 3 times in the first 15 minutes, they created good openings for headers on goal, but Rondon couldn't get good contact, neither could Brunt, and then Dawson headed over. Everton, we've seen remarkably little of them as an attacking force, but surprise, surprise, under Big Sam Allardyce, they just don't concede goals. At half-time, as the rain falls, it's West Brom 0, Everton 0.
On the stroke of half-time, Portsmouth have got a goal at home to AFC Wimbledon, and they lead at Fratton Park. Portsmouth 1, Wimbledon 0. As I say, half-time whistle started to go around the country. I think it's gone at Bramall Lane. Alice Yeomans.
It has. Sheffield United 1, Sunderland 0. All Sheffield United. Clayton Donaldson went close before John Lundstrom, after 36 minutes, turned in a sweet shot to give Sheffield United the lead. Jack O'Connell could have made it to a header from a corner, inches wide, but at half-time, Sheffield United 1, Sunderland 0.
Ball in the net for Stoke at Huddersfield, but Conor McNamara.
But disallowed for offside. Choupo-Moting, nice little dink over the advancing goalkeeper, but the flag was raised on the far side and Stoke remained behind. Huddersfield 1, Stoke 0. We're in stoppage time at the end of the first half.
First 45 is over at Stamford Bridge. John Southall.
It is. It's Chelsea 0, Brighton 0. Chelsea frustrated by a well-organised Brighton side, but they have had 2 chances. Both have been squandered, both created by Fabregas. The first he played in Rudiger. Rudiger nodded it back to Bagayoko on the left-hand side, 4 yards out, came very quickly to him, but he put it wide of the left-hand post. Fabregas again, lovely through ball to Victor Moses, running in on the right of the penalty area. On the volley, tried to beat Ryan at the near post. The keeper, though, just did enough to deny him. So Chelsea need to be a bit more inventive in the second half if they're to break this Brighton side down. Chris Hughton will be more than happy with this half-time scoreline. Chelsea 0, Brighton 0.
Isn't it so often the case a team gets rid of their manager and then they go and perform well? Sheffield Wednesday, no Carlos Carvajal anymore, and they are now 2-0 up at Nottingham Forest, thanks to Jordan Rhodes' 6th of the season, and Naz Premji, it came from the spot.
It did. Fox was brought down. Jordan Rhodes stepped up, coolly slotted the penalty in. They're going for a third here, Mark, in injury time. They've been all over Forest. There's been a proper dust-up this as well, because Forest have had their chances as well. A couple of absolute sitters missed by Ben Brereton and Barry Mackay, but it is Nottingham Forest 0, Sheffield Wednesday 2.
Plenty. By the way, those boos are for the half-time whistle at Old Trafford. We'll go there after John Akers tells us about more chances at Bournemouth.
The weather and some of the defending has been atrocious, and it's brilliant. It's such a good game. Both sides really going for it. Literally, West Ham have just had a shot blocked at one end, and 10 seconds later, Bournemouth are at the other end of the pitch attacking. Kings had the latest chance for Bournemouth. His header was a bit tame at Adrian. 1-1.
You can't fail to enjoy that, Andy Reid, can you? But Boxing Day, lashing down, flying in, teams going for it. There's your perfect game of football at the moment.
Oh, it's just brilliant, isn't it? You know, it doesn't get any better than that, does it? You know, this is Boxing Day. So I used to love the Boxing Day games. You know, we used to love get, you know, the build up to them, and they were always great games.
Burnley are absolutely loving it at Old Trafford. Ian Dennis.
Yes, they are, because at half-time it's Manchester United 0, Burnley 2. Ashley Barnes with the first goal after 3 minutes. The free kick never dealt with, and Barnes rifled in from inside the 6-yard area. Arfield could easily have made it 2 before Defoe definitely did with a super free kick 9 minutes before the break. Right-footed into the top left-hand corner, his first goal since January. As for Manchester United, they've had the most of the possession. I can only recall Pope making 2 saves, and certainly for the last 10 minutes they struggled to test the Burnley goalkeeper. Pogba with a curling effort wide, but they haven't got round the back of the Burnley defence, who, as you'd expect, have been stubborn, obdurate, and have kept them out, with even Ben Mee making a goal line clearance from Marcus Rashford. Burnley deservedly ahead, 2-0.
Half-time whistle has gone at Huddersfield. Conor McNamara.
Yes, Huddersfield 1, Stoke 0. Tom Ince with his first goal for the club. Ryan Shawcross was forced off injured in the first half. Yossel made a brilliant save to deny a Choupo-Moting bicycle kick for close range. Peter Crouch, you'd expected him to do better with a couple of headers. Both were off target, and Choupo-Moting did have the ball in the back of the net at the end, but was offside as he dinked the ball over the advancing goalkeeper. That was a good half of football. We'll do it all again. Huddersfield 1, Stoke 0.
And to Watford against Leicester next. Mark Scott.
At the break, it's Watford 1, Leicester 1, a game that took a long while to get going but then exploded into life towards the end of the half. Jamie Vardy clean through on 27 minutes, really should have scored. 10 minutes later, Riyad Mahrez did. Brilliant header after a fabulous cross out wide from Albrighton. Leicester, good value for that lead, but Watford then sprung into life on the stroke of half-time. Leicester failed to deal with a corner, and Molawage on hand to turn in for his first Watford goal and his first Premier League start. And unbelievably, Watford could have gone in ahead at the interval. Akaka, who came on for Pereira, combining with Cleverley, they teed up Richarlison. He smashed it beyond Schmeichel, but onto the post. Watford 1, Leicester 1.
And same score at Bournemouth. John Akers.
Yeah, Bournemouth 1, West Ham United 1. Well, you'd have a field day analysing some of the defending, but in awful weather conditions, it's been a great game of football. End to end, James Collins flashed home a brilliant near post header for 1-0 for West Ham from a corner. Gosling equalised with a scrappy goal, a right foot half volley after West Ham failed to clear. And there's been loads of other stuff happened as well. You could see a couple of replays on Match of the Day tonight. One, Josh King, was it a deliberate arm across the face of Obiang? You'll have to make your own mind up. And then Francis kicked Koyate in the face, got a yellow card, claimed he wasn't looking at the ball. Plus Ayu's missed a chance, Lanzini, Wilson, Josh King's had 2 good chances for Bournemouth. Breathless, 1-1.
Let's go. Remember, the early game in the Premier League finished Spurs 5, Southampton 2, and at tea time we're going to bring you Liverpool against Swansea in full. The early game in the Championship saw the leaders Wolves held 2-2 at Millwall. How are second place Cardiff doing at home to Fulham? Carl Roberts.
Well, Mark, you and Andy were talking about the rain. It's absolutely hammering down here. It's even subdued Cardiff manager Neil Warnock on the sideline. Some brightness, though, and that came from Fulham in the opening minutes. They should have had a penalty after 5, but they were in the lead after 12. Tim Ream with an easy header into an open goal, his first goal of the season. Fulham's goalkeeper Marcus Bettinelli made 2 tidy saves from Joe Rawls and Kenneth Zahor. Cardiff aren't hiding, but if they do want to close that gap on Wolves at the top, they need to improve in the second half. Cardiff 0, Fulham 1.
So you've got Wolves drawing, Cardiff losing. Could Bristol City take advantage? Hamish Marshall.
They can if they could get a goal, but it's 0-0 against Reading. They're marginally on top, but only 1 chance apiece. Both should have done better. City's Matty Taylor heading over from 10 yards, while Reading's Mo Barrow, who's been in good scoring form of late, couldn't find the target when free 15 yards out. Bristol City 0, Reading 0.
Derby in third aren't taking advantage either. They're being held at Hull this afternoon, and the half-time whistle has gone. At the K-Com, will Tony Pulis have liked what he's seen from his new Middlesbrough side? Derm Tanner's at the Riverside.
I think he's going to be fairly happy. It's 0-0, but Middlesbrough have played with high temper. They have plenty of possession. They've shifted the ball well, and Stuart Downing has been the standout player because many of the chances that Assombalonga and Braithwaite and others have had have come from Borough's number 19. Bolton, though, have been pretty solid at the back, and they've had a couple of half chances themselves. Half-time, Middlesbrough 0, Bolton 0.
And just rounding up everything that's happened at the City Ground in that first 45 minutes, Naz Premji.
Nottingham Forest 0, Sheffield Wednesday 2. Life after Carlos Carvajal looking great for the visitors, who lead thanks to an Adam Reach goal and a Jordan Rhodes penalty. Reach with a thunderbolt which flew into the top corner, and Rhodes with a cool spot kick after Fox was fouled in the box. Forest have missed 2 sitters, Ben Brereton and Barry Mackay, the guilty parties. It's Nottingham Forest 0, Sheffield Wednesday 2.
Elsewhere in the Championship, Barnsley 0, Preston 0. Alex Pritchard got the Norwich goal at Birmingham. They lead by a goal to 0 at St Andrews. Burton are going for 3 straight wins in the Championship, and they lead Leeds by a goal to 0. Mentioned that it's Hull 0, Derby 0. Also goalless between Ipswich and QPR, and Sheffield United leads Sunderland by a goal to 0 at half-time. In the Scottish Premiership, the only game of the day finished Dundee 0, Celtic 2. Into League One, sounds like it's been tight between the top 2 after that first half. Andy Giddings.
Well, it is goalless at half-time, but Wigan can lay claim to being by far and away the better team. Will Grigg has been outstanding in the lone striker role up front. He was unlucky not to score, stooping from an acute angle. He saw his header cannon off the crossbar. He also pressed high, won it back with a great shoulder challenge and fired a shot into the side netting. And not bad for a big man at 6'6", Dan Byrne, meeting in a cross from about 4 yards out, brought a good save from Dean Henderson. Shrewsbury are sitting back and trying to contain Wigan Athletic. It's working just about, but there was a real hearts in the mouth moment as we stooped towards added time. Michael Jacobs raced into the box. He went down. The referee had a good long look at it, deciding whether a penalty, whether it was a penalty or not, and he decided against it. Chorus of boos at the break, but Wigan's performance is good. It's Wigan 0, Shrewsbury 0.
In the early games in League One, Gillingham scored a couple of minutes from the end to get a 1-1 draw at home to Oxford, and Southend beat Charlton by 3-1. In the 3 o'clock games, Blackburn are 2-0 up at home to Rochdale. It's Blackpool 1, Scunthorpe 2. Peterborough are 2-0 up at Bradford. They could get their 4th straight win on the trot, could Peterborough there. Bury 0, Rotherham 2. Doncaster 2, Northampton 0. Plymouth are 1-0 up at the MK Dons. It's goalless between Oldham and Fleetwood. Portsmouth lead AFC Wimbledon by a 0-0. And it's Walsall 0, Bristol Rovers 0. Into League 2, where the early game finished Grimsby 1, Mansfield 1. How are leaders Luton doing at Swindon? Lawrence Herdman.
It's 0-0, chappers. Luton looking to extend their lead at the top with the game's 2 outstanding chances so far, though. Early on, fullback Dan Potts blazing over captain Alan Sheehan's free kick from just 6 yards out, and James Collins with an audacious lob from fully 45 yards. Lawrence Vigarou off his line in the Swindon goal, backpedalling, palmed over. But Swindon just outside the playoffs, they're lively on the break. Kane Woolery with one lightning run and cross, inches too far in front of Keshi Anderson, and veteran Matty Taylor with a deflected free kick just wide. 0-0.
Elsewhere in League 2, Cambridge 0, Barnet 0, Carlisle 1, Accrington 0. Goalless between Cheltenham and Yeovil. Chesterfield 0, Crewe 2. Crawley 0, Colchester 1. Goalless between Exeter and Forest Green Rovers. Forest Green Rovers have lost their last 4, but they're on for a point this afternoon. Lincoln in the playoffs leads Stevenage by a 0-0. Notts County, who are trying to chase down Luton, are 2-0 up at Morecambe. Goalless between Port Vale and Coventry. And Wickham in 5th lead Newport in 11th by a 0-0. In the National League, in the lunchtime game, Leyton Orient 2, Dagenham and Redbridge 0. In the 3 o'clock games, Aldershot 2, Woking 1, Barrow 1, Wrexham 1, Boreham Wood 0, Sutton 2. Boreham Wood are down to 10 men in that game, as are Chester, who trailed Guiseley by 2-0. Dover 0, Maidstone 2, Eastleigh 0, Torquay 0, Ebbsfleet 2, Bromley 1, Gateshead 1, 10-man Hartlepool 1. Leaders Macclesfield are being held at home by Halifax. It's 1-1 in that game. Maidenhead 0, Solihull 0, and Tranmere 2, Fylde 0. And in the Scottish Championship, just one game today. It finished Dumbarton 1, Livingston 4. Let's go back to Kempton and join our correspondent Cornelius Lycett, where Mike Bite won the King George VI chase. Cornelius.
Mike Bite, the 6-4 favourite, jumped well, galloped straight as a barrel under jockey Nico de Boinville to win Jump Racing's mid-season championship steeplechase, beating outsiders Double Shuffle and T for 2 by 1 length and 2 lengths. Sceptics will tut a bit about the close proximity of those two, but considering the soft going, not Mike Bite's favoured conditions, it was a fine performance and throws down the gauntlet to the Cheltenham Gold Cup reigning champion Sizing John. Winning trainer Nicky Henderson also took the Christmas hurdle with Bouvert Dare, whilst rising star jockey Bryony Frost won her first Grade 1 race. That was on Black Corton in the Courto Star Novices Chase.
It's 1 minute to 4. You're listening to 5 Live Sport on BBC Radio 5 Live, the BBC Sport website and app, and Richard Foster has the latest news.
More live Premier League football than anyone else. This is BBC 5 Live.
The family of a British woman jailed for 3 years for smuggling painkillers into Egypt say she'll appeal against her sentence. Laura Plummer claimed the tramadol tablets, which were illegal there, were for her Egyptian partner's back pain. South Yorkshire police have confirmed 2 people died in a car crash in Sheffield on Christmas Day. One of those killed was an officer responding to an incident. The other was a female passenger in a different car. A 29-year-old man has appeared in court charged with the attempted murder of a man in Swansea on Saturday. Kyle Dunbar was remanded in custody. Fewer people have been hitting the Boxing Day sales this year. Visits to shops up to midday were 4% down on last year, according to the research group's group Springboard. Black Friday discounts are partly being blamed for the fall. And the Queen's broadcast was the most watched programme on Christmas Day. 7.6 million people tuned in to see it. On BBC One, ITV and Sky News, it was followed by Mrs Brown's Boys and Strictly Come Dancing.
This is BBC 5 Live on digital, online, smartphone and tablet.
On the road Clothes M62 westbound in West Yorkshire, queuing traffic, long delays between junction 24 at Ainley Top and 23 at Huddersfield. Queues as far back as junction 25 at Brighouse. West Midlands and the northbound M5, one lane shut and there's queuing traffic. All because of a breakdown just at the northbound M5 at the M6 junction 8, where the two roads converge. M25 clockwise in Kent, slow traffic due to an earlier accident between junction 5 at the M26 and junction 6 at Godstone, but all lanes have been reopened. And in Somerset on the M5 southbound, queuing traffic and one lane's blocked, all because of an accident, and surface water on the road too between junction 26 at Wellington and 27 at Tiverton. Richard Foster, 5 Live Travel.
Pure drama on BBC One.
I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I was educated at a private school in England. I run my own firm in the city. I'm very happy with my life the way it is.
Some people choose their path in life. Others have it chosen for them.
I've had 3 investors asking to redeem their capital.
Tell your investors that the story is completely untrue.
Someone in Moscow plans this to hurt the family.
I'm a banker, not a gangster.
Moving money is your weapon.
Welcome to the family business.
If you want to protect your family, this is what you have to do.
McMafia starts New Year's Day at 9 on BBC One.
This is 5 Live Sport with Mark Chapman.
And Andy Reid is in the studio with me as we go around the grounds this afternoon before we bring you Liverpool against Swansea from 5:30. Whatever happens during these games, and probably in that tea-time game as well, the story of the day is likely to be Harry Kane. He hit a hat-trick for Spurs at home to Southampton. It has given him 39 Premier League goals in 36 games in 2017 and 56 for club and country in 52, more than anybody else in Europe. Afterwards, he spoke to George Cummins.
Harry, never in doubt, did you have a gut feeling you was going to score a hat-trick this morning and get that record?
Maybe not a hat-trick, but I felt confident going into the game. Obviously, a lot was spoke about getting a record. I was trying to focus just on doing my job as always, trying to win. But yeah, when I scored that goal, it was a great feeling, and then I could enjoy the rest of the game. And to get the hat-trick and finish the year strong was important, and important for the team as well, so we can go into 2018 for the confidence.
What was your favourite goal from today?
Probably the third one. Great ball by Dele, and then a nice composed finish. But look, any goal feels as good as any other, so whether it's tapping from 1 yard or a screamer from outside the box, they all count the same, and that's what I'll keep trying to do.
5 years ago, you was just about to join Millwall on loan, and now your name's up there with Messi. Did you ever think this was going to happen?
Well, I always believed it could happen. Of course, you go through stages where you have doubts creep in, and it seems like a long way away. But for me, I got my chance and took it, and it went on from there. And the last, I think, 3 years now in the Premier League has been a great ride, and like always, I'll continue to try and improve and continue to try and get better. And it's great to be up there with the likes of Messi and Ronaldo, but I've still got a long way to go before I can be put in the same bracket as them. So that's what it's about, is to try and catch them and see what happens in the years to come.
Alan Shearer's Premier League record next, is that the one on your list?
Well, I said after the Burnley game, it's still a long way away. I can't really think about that yet. For me, it's just finishing off the second half of the season strong. I'm at my best goal tally by far than any other Premier League season at this stage. So for me, hopefully I can keep doing what I'm doing, keep scoring goals, keep winning games, and most important is getting to that top 4 Champions League football, and hopefully we can get an FA Cup or go find the Champions League and see what happens. We've shown in the group stage that we can beat anyone, and then yeah, in the Premier League we just got to keep fighting for every point and hopefully get into that top 4.
Harry Kane with George Cummins. Let's go to Stamford Bridge, where there has been a goal already in the second half. John Southall.
There has. It's taken Chelsea less than 60 seconds inside the second half to take the lead. Chelsea 1, Brighton 0. The ball from the right-hand side from Cesar Azpilicueta. Lovely delivery with his right foot. And there was Alvaro Morata, got the right side of Lewis Dunk and headed it into the bottom right-hand corner. Could be a long way back for Brighton from here after all that decent work in the first half. They trail Chelsea by a goal to 0.
Double change for Manchester United at Old Trafford. Ian Dennis.
Yes, Ibrahimovic, who was making his first Premier League start of the season, has made way, as has Marcus Rojo. Coming on, Lingard and Mkhitaryan, which means that Matic has dropped back into the heart of the defence to partner Jones. Still the fullbacks are the same, Shaw and Ashley Young, but a very attacking side now because Pogba is the only holding midfielder. You've then got Mkhitaryan, Lingard, Rashford, Mata and Lukaku as United look to overhaul this 2-goal deficit.
Let's go to West Brom next. Rob Nothman.
And it's still West Brom 0, Everton 0, but another chance for West Brom. This one falling to Rondon, not the most attractive of angles. Left edge around about 12 yards out, but he slipped. His non-kicking foot slipped as he tried to hit it, and he skied it high into the crowd. Cue much derision from the Everton away fans. It remains West Brom 0, Everton 0.
Goalless there. The changes, Andy Reid, for United Ibrahimovic didn't really contribute a great deal, did he, in that first half?
No, he didn't. Strikes me as a little bit of desperation, and it's a strange thing to say, for Man United side at home to Burnley, But, they're 2-0 down, and it looks like he's kind of panicking a little bit. Matic going back to centre-back. I've never seen that before. They've got... I'm not too sure. And even all them attacking players on the pitch, I've just been watching. A ball went up to Lukaku, and there was nobody within 10 yards of him.
Let's go into League Two. Swindon against Luton. Luton, the League Two leaders, and you've got a goal. Lawrence Herdman.
Swindon 0, Luton 1. No stopping the leaders. An absolutely stunning goal from centre-forward James Collins. Picked the ball up on the right, ran across the face of the Swindon penalty area and curled into the top corner against his former club. Swindon 0, Luton 1.
Staying in League Two, Accrington Stanley have equalised at Carlisle just a couple of minutes into the second half. Billy Keys, 13th of the season, has come from the penalty spot. Should Chelsea have doubled their lead at Stamford Bridge? John Southall.
Could well have done. It's Chelsea 1, Brighton 0. They've come absolutely flying out of the traps in the second half. Bakayoko just laid it into the path of Hazard on the edge of the penalty area, and his shot just a fraction wide of the left-hand post. The first goal of the afternoon, 52 seconds into the second half for Chelsea, who lead Brighton by a goal to 0.
Substitution at West Brom, Rob Nothman.
I told you about that Rondon missed chance. Well, he did himself a mischief in skewing that ball high into the crowd. West Brom 0, Everton 0, and the Venezuelan is coming off now to be replaced by Hal Robson Kanu. So it's West Brom 0, Everton 0.
Equaliser for AFC Wimbledon at Portsmouth. Lyle Taylor's 11th of the season means it is 1-1 at Fratton Park, and Scunthorpe United are now 3-1 up at Blackpool. They're chasing a spot in the playoffs, are Scunthorpe. They might want even better. They're fourth at the moment. They've got their first win in 5 against Southend on Saturday. Exeter against Forest Green Rovers, I think, has been abandoned in League Two. Heavy rain has put pay to that fixture at half-time. It was 0-0. So that game will have to be replayed. Ben Mee is continuing at Old Trafford. Ian Dennis.
Yes, he is. He's just had a little bit of treatment, but he's now back on the field of play as Burnley continue to frustrate and thwart this Manchester United side, who are in possession with Pogba. He's already let one fly from outside the penalty area early on in the second half. But once again, as Shaw gets the ball, he drifts infield. So you look at that back line of Burnley, the white shirts, as a low ball is played in, and it hasn't gone in. Oh, that's an incredible miss. That is an incredible miss. It's astonishing how that's not gone in. Still, it's alive inside the penalty area. Shaw has the shot charge down, but as the cross has come in from the right-hand side, Lukaku's thrown himself at it. I think it was Lingard following up as another cross has been missed by both. Rashford pulls it back, edge of the area. Luke Shaw, low shot, cleared away by Burnley. He must have been a yard away from the goal line, and he sort of like spooned it up. It hit the crossbar and then dropped back out and didn't go over the line.
It sort of hit the bar, didn't it, Andy Reid? And then it rolled up the bar, onto the top of the bar, and then came back down.
I can't quite work out how that's actually happened, to be honest with you. It was a poor miss, though, and yeah, but I think he's just expected Lukaku to get a touch on it just before him, and when Lukaku didn't, I think it kind of wrong-footed Lingard a little bit, so he didn't get the connection that he needed, and he scooped up into the air. but it was a big chance, big chance that.
Let's go to the Riverside. Have we seen the first goal for Middlesbrough post Gary Monk, Derm Tanner?
We have, and Braithwaite, the goal scorer, 4 minutes after the restart, straight onto a through ball, slight deflection on it, but a good strike nonetheless. Middlesbrough 1, Bolton 0.
And that's his 5th of the season. Let's go to John Akers, where Bournemouth could have gone ahead.
Yeah, Wilson's missed a chance, edge of the area, good first touch, got it out from under his feet, but just drilled it wide of the goalkeeper's right-hand post. Adrian was at full stretch, had no chance. I can see why Exeter's been called off, because the weather here is really, really bad too. Obviously no problems with the pitch here. It's been a good game so far. It's Bournemouth 1, West Ham 1 in the second half.
Chance for Brighton to get themselves back into it. John Southall.
And a rare one at that. Chelsea 1, Brighton 0, but they have a free kick on the right-hand side of the penalty area. The ball's just being moved back by the referee, Marcus Suttner, the Austrian. Never scored a goal for Brighton. Will take it with his left foot straight into the wall. Comes back to Suttner, but that rare chance is gone. Chelsea 1, Brighton 0.
They will find it hard, won't they, Andy Reid, to chase the game now at Stamford Bridge?
Yeah, you would imagine so. You know, I've been really, really impressed with how Chelsea have been going about their business lately. You know, they look like they're starting to hit a little bit of form at the right time, and with Man United kind of starting to lose that little bit of form, it's a great opportunity for them to push up the league a bit.
That was an amazing save, actually, from Nick Pope from Lingard that pushed it up onto the bar. I mean, it was point-blank range. I'm not sure how much he knew about it, but he got his body in the way. And
well, listen, it's like them, you know, if a ball hits a striker and goes in out of his knee, it's still a goal in. So a goalkeeper's going to be claiming that's a brilliant save, and rightly so as well. Fantastic.
I've just been told, mate, it's been a very dull start at Watford in this second half. Mark Scott.
Yeah, the first half took a long time to get going, Mark, and the second period is yet to really click into life as well. One thing that may have got lost a bit in the melee of action towards the end of the first period is that Akaka came on for Pereira. It's still 1-1 here.
Second time lucky for Jesse Lingard. Ian Dennis.
Yes, Manchester United have reduced the arrears 8 minutes into the second half. Manchester United 1, Burnley 2. It was Lukaku who played the ball out towards the right-hand side, and it was a deft little flick by Lingard. Just dragged his right foot back heel, and just enough to carry it inside the far post past Pope. It was a nice little touch to redeem himself. Nice little flick finish by Jesse Lingard. Mata was on hand, didn't require the touch from Mata. So Manchester United now have closed the gap, and we've got an interesting second half on our hands here.
He was unsighted, really, wasn't he, Pope, by the defender, by long?
Yeah, he was, but, you know, that's a lovely flick from Lingard. It really, really is. A really deft touch. It was a good ball in. He just needed to get the direction on it, and, you know, and he put it right in the corner, and Pope couldn't really get near. You can't really blame him for that at all. But Man United right back in the game now, and Burnley are going to have to show that organisation that they're so famed for.
Could be an onslaught here, couldn't it?
Yeah, it could be. You know, you would imagine at Old Trafford they've just got one back in. They've got a lot of attacking players on the pitch. You know, maybe it wasn't so much desperation from Mourinho.
Let me give you the scores in the Championship. Remember, Millwall 2, Wolves 2 in the early game. These are the games with goals in. Birmingham 0, Norwich 1, Burton 1, Leeds 0, Cardiff 0, Fulham 1, Middlesbrough 1, Bolton 0, Nottingham Forest 0, Sheffield Wednesday 2, Sheffield United 1, Sunderland 0. No other goals as yet in the Championship. There has been another goal at Swindon Luton for Lawrence Herdman.
Swindon 0, Luton 2. Leaders Luton on fire here, and it's the second half of that prolific spearhead. Danny Hilton heading in his 15th goal of the season. Dan Polk's cross from the left-hand side. It's Swindon 0, Luton 2.
And that's going to be 8 wins in their last 9 for Luton. Back to John Southall.
Chance here for Chelsea. They lead Brighton by a goal to 0. Free kick in a pretty central position, a couple of yards outside the D. Looks like Marcus Alonso quite fancies this one with his left foot. Fabregas is also over it. The referee is just getting his spray can out and just putting that line right on the edge of the penalty area. So that'll tell you where the free kick will be taken. Alonso with 3 on his back with his left foot. You fancy he might try and curl this one into the top corner. The referee finally marches his way back. Could be Fabregas. It's Alonso. Great strike, and the goalkeeper flying to his left-hand side, claws it away. Good save by Matt Ryan. Chelsea lead Brighton by a goal to 0.
Devontae Cole has scored for Fleetwood, 11 for the season for him. Uwe Rosler's side haven't won in their last 8 in League One, but they lead at Oldham by a goal to 0. Where am I going next? Bournemouth? Oh no, we've just been. We'll go to Bournemouth. John Akers.
We've just been.
I was having a conversation with myself then.
I know, but just stuff keeps happening in this game, Mark. Lanzini's just had a left foot shot, deflected wide. At the other end, Bournemouth have a free kick, really dangerous position to cross. Cresswell's been booked, so has Collins. There was the best breakaway you've seen on, and the referee, Bobby Madley, decided to stop the game to book Collins. Bournemouth fans were furious. They looked to be away. It's 1-1.
What goes on in my head during these round the grounds, afternoons and evenings? Conor McNamara.
It's on the way in the second half here at Huddersfield. Huddersfield still leading Stoke by 1-0, scored by Tom Ince in the first half. Butland's made 2 good stops, though, to keep it at just 1-0. Best of them from Van La Parra, who was in point blank, tried to just scoop it over the advancing goalkeeper. Butland made himself big, made the save. Huddersfield on top, though. They lead Stoke 1-0.
Sami Smosic can't stop scoring for Colchester. 12 for the season for him, and they've doubled their lead at Crawley. Crawley 0, Colchester United 2. Alice Yeomans has seen another goal at Bramall Lane. Who for?
A second goal for Sheffield United, cross from the left. Richard Stearman, his first goal for the club. Fine diving header. It's Sheffield United 2, Sunderland 0.
Definitely going to Bournemouth this time. Why, John Akers?
It is Bournemouth. And Bournemouth lead. Ake, across from the right-hand side, went through a sea of legs, and there he was, his dreadlocks bouncing to pass the ball into the net past Adrian. This game has got absolutely everything. If you're a West Ham fan, don't worry, you'll probably have a dozen chances in the next 15 minutes. 2-1.
Adrian is absolutely fuming there, as most goalkeepers are when they concede. Berate his defence. That's a good finish, isn't it, from Nathan Ake, Andy Reid?
Yeah, it was. It was a little bit. It was poor defending. I think they've missed a couple of clearances, the West Ham defenders there. But Ake's come in and the ball's kind of bouncing up and on that skiddy surface to get his left foot on that and put it in the bottom corner. That's a good finish, and that's an excellent game down there. It really, really is. I've been watching it for the last couple of minutes. It's end to end. It looks a brilliant game.
Another goal from a set piece has come at Stamford Bridge. John Southall.
And surely this is game over. Chelsea 2, Brighton 0. Marcus Alonso's come close twice in the last 5 minutes. Finally he's got his goal. Fabregas with the corner from the left-hand side, and there was Marcus Alonso at the near post. Lovely little flick header into the bottom right-hand corner, and Chelsea lead Brighton by 2-0.
Let's go back to the Hawthorns, where Yannick Bolassi's afternoon is over, Rob Nothman.
Yes, still West Brom 0, Everton 0. Yannick Bolassi's first game for 386 days lasted precisely an hour. He has gone off. In racing parlance, I'm sure he'll be better for the run. He's been replaced by Aaron Lennon, and another Everton change. Nias has come on for Calvert-Lewin up front. It remains West Brom 0, Everton 0.
2 goals in quick succession at Cardiff. Carl Roberts.
Yes, very much so. Fulham made it 2-0, Mark, after 55 minutes. Aite with that goal on the counter-attack as they look to protect their lead, and Kenneth Zahor has just got a 25-yard volley. The ball dropped over his shoulder, left-footed, flashed into the top corner. Marcus Bettinelli had no chance. Cardiff thought they were done and dusted, but they're back in the game. Fulham 2, Cardiff 1.
And Stoke have had their chances at Huddersfield, and they've finally taken one. Conor McNamara.
Yeah, a lot of chances for Stoke towards the end of the first half. They were actually doing a lot of defending since the break, but now a goal against the run of play, and Ramadan Sobhi, who came on as a sub in the first half for the injured Ryan Shawcross, was on hand after a good cross by Joe Allen into the 6-yard box, sliding in to finish from close range. Really important goal for Mark Hughes, and it's Huddersfield 1, Stoke 1.
Great cross that, Andy Reid, wasn't it? You'd have been proud of that.
It was brilliant, but it was a great run. You know, if you see the replay, and he makes a great run from deep and into the kind of the inside left channel and puts a great ball across with his left foot. Striker's dream, that just put it on a plate, and he's there to tap it in.
Plenty of goals for Alice Yeomans this afternoon.
Sheffield United beginning to enjoy themselves. Lovely cross from the left by the byline. George Bulldog in the centre of the penalty area. His first goal for the club. Sheffield United 3, Sunderland 0.
Let me give you the latest scores in League One in the 3 o'clock games. Blackburn 2, Rochdale 0, Blackpool 1, Scunthorpe 3, Bradford 0, Peterborough 2, Rotherham a 2-0 up at Bury, Doncaster 2, Northampton 0, MK Dons 0, Plymouth 1, Oldham 0, Fleetwood 1, Portsmouth 1, AFC Wimbledon 1. Goalless between Walsall and Bristol Rovers, and between Wigan and Shrewsbury this afternoon. You can hear the groans of the crowd at Manchester United. They keep getting chances, Ian Dennis.
Yes, they do. The latest one was Luke Shaw, the left back, from the corner of the penalty area through a crowd of bodies. But Pope, the goalkeeper, was well positioned to make the save. Before that, Lukaku had just had a header that was off target. This could be a long half an hour for Burnley, plus of course stoppage time, because Manchester United are continuing to come forward, although they've just been pulled back there for a foul. So Martin Atkinson has given a free kick in favour of Burnley, who still lead by 2-1, and Jose Mourinho once again is having words with the fourth official, Liam Mason. I'd suspect we'll have earache come the final whistle.
Pablo Hernandez got Leeds winner against Hull on Saturday, scored again this afternoon, and that's the equaliser at Burton Albion. Burton Albion 1, Leeds 1, and George Grant's second of the afternoon, 16 for the season. And Notts County are 3-0 up at Morecambe. We are going to go to Bournemouth, where West Ham have made 2 changes, John Akers.
Carroll and Chicharito are on for Obiang and Ayew. David Moyes does have those options, and there's a header won by Carroll, and Begovic comes and dives on it in front of the advancing Chicharito. That would have been quite some change from David Moyes, but Begovic has the ball in his hands now. You've got to give credit to Bournemouth. They've not scored in 4 matches. They lead 2-1 here.
You kind of think, Andy Reid, don't you, that Chicharito and Andy Carroll would have been a brilliant partnership in the 1980s when teams played with big man, little man, which has kind of gone out of fashion.
Yeah, it has gone out of fashion, but having said that, when you're 2-1 down going into the last 20 minutes of a game, you know, it's a good option to have, to bring on 2 quality players like that, you know, and you can probably see them getting another, getting again. But I'm just looking at all the games here, chappers, and it's absolutely brilliant. They're all close. There's, you know, everybody's in with a chance of getting a result in every game here. It really, really is such an exciting day of football.
And also, you looked to me when I gave the Notts County score as they go 3-0 up. Remember, they were 3-0 down on Saturday at home to Cambridge. They got it back to 3-all. They're 3-0 up at Morecambe. The job that Kevin Nolan has done there is remarkable.
Absolutely remarkable. I mean, you know, with me living in Nottingham still, you know, I'm very kind of close, and I see what's going on, and the chairman come in, Alan Hardy, and he's done a great job. He's brought in Kevin Nolan, who's done a fantastic job, and it's a club moving in the right direction. And just to mention for George Grant, who's got 2 goals today, he's on loan from Nottingham Forest, a player that I played with. Excellent player, and delighted to see him do so well.
In League 2, the other latest scores: Cambridge 0, Barnet 0, Carlisle 1, Accrington 0, Cheltenham 0, Yeovil 0, Crewe 2-0 up at Chesterfield, Crawley 0, Colchester 2. Exeter Forest Green Rovers was abandoned because of rain at half-time. Lincoln 1, Stevenage 0. Told you Notts County are 3 up at Morecambe. Port Vale 0, Coventry 0, Swindon 0, Luton 2, Wickham 1, Newport 0. More chances for John Akers at Bournemouth.
Bournemouth almost put this to bed. Gosling in the penalty area on the right side. Really smart save from Adrian, diving low down to his left. Afobe's about to come on for Bournemouth, and Bournemouth have a corner. Swung in right-footed, Ake! Oh, side netting. Side netting, we all thought it was in. Wow. 2-1 Bournemouth.
Be honest with me, John, when you got this game on the rotor, were you travelling there hoping, that expected to see the kind of game that you have seen today?
No, I was thinking, well, that'll be, I mean, I got given it a few weeks ago and I thought, well, that's not going to be very good at all. But it's been incredible. 18th versus 70. It's not got much billing really today, this game. This is huge, down at the bottom for both teams, and they're playing like it.
Leeds have turned it around at Burton. Kamaru's 10th of the season. They were a goal down. They're now 2-1 up, and Watford have turned it round as well. Mark Scott.
Yeah, and it's not one that Kasper Schmeichel is going to want to see again. Cleverly's free kick towards the far post. Schmeichel thought about coming, then stayed. Decore somehow stole him round the back. He was virtually on the byline, knocked it back across goal, and it squeezed in between Schmeichel and the near post and just rolled over the line. It's an error from Schmeichel. Watford were trailing. They now lead by 2-1.
Chelsea threatening to to run riot, John Southall.
They are. It should be 3-0. Chelsea 2, Brighton 0. Chelsea on the counter-attack. Kante waited and waited and waited, played in Hazard, and his shot cleared off the line brilliantly by Lewis Dunk. Chelsea 2, Brighton 0.
And let's go back to Huddersfield. Stoke, Conor McNamara.
Good game. Huddersfield 1, Stoke 1. Huddersfield with another chance. Quana breaking into the penalty area down the right. That was the formula that led to the opening goal. This time with 2 in support. He went for goal himself, put it across the face of goal and wide. Here's another chance though, headed down to the penalty area and hacked away by Darren Fletcher. There's been a few changes as well. Shaqiri has gone off for Stoke. They brought on Mame Biram Diouf. Both teams will feel they can go and win it from here. We've still a quarter of the match to go. Huddersfield 1, Stoke 1.
The third goal for the League Two leaders, Luton at Swindon. Matty Taylor has put through his own net. Swindon 0, Luton 3. We'll get the details from Lawrence very shortly. Cambridge have taken the lead at home to Barnet. Barnet are in 22nd and they trail at Cambridge, and Doncaster are now 3-0 up at home to Northampton. Andy Butler has got that goal. Detail of Luton's third then comes from Lawrence Herdman.
Yeah, and Swindon in total disarray here, chappers. The latest goal, James Collins, again power and pace down the right-hand side, got to the byline, pulled it back, and veteran Matty Taylor could only turn it past his own goalkeeper, Lawrence Vigarou. Swindon in total disarray. It's Swindon 0, Luton 3.
And as we said, Kevin Nolan's done a good job at Notts County. You could say the same thing about Nathan Jones at Luton. Those two sides are going to go head-to-head, aren't they, for the rest of the season? There's a 4-point gap at the moment.
Yeah, I think they drew there not too long ago, but the two of them are, they're really kicking on in that division and playing some really good football. Luton are playing some excellent football. I know we've got Paul Hart in there who's coaching with Nathan, and they're really playing some excellent football. So them two right up there fighting all the way for that League Two championship.
Been a miserable afternoon for one of your former clubs though, Andy. Another goal has gone in at Nottingham Forest. Now's Premji.
Nottingham Forest 0, Sheffield Wednesday 3. Adam Reach with the build-up play into Lucas Shaw, who took one touch, bamboozled the defender and rifled past Jordan Smith. It's Nottingham Forest 0, Sheffield Wednesday 3.
End-to-end at Bournemouth, John Akers.
This time Jordan Ibe for Bournemouth as they attack again with Wilson. It's wave after wave at the moment for Bournemouth. On his right foot, Jordan Ibe, right foot shot. Adrian with another save with his right leg, keeping West Ham in it. It's Bournemouth 2, West Ham 1, 23 minutes to go. I don't know if I can cope.
Ian Dennis, Burnley making a change.
Yes, and the change was midway through the second half. A surprising change, bearing in mind that Manchester United have dominated with possession, but they've taken off Defoe from midfield and actually brought on Sam Vokes. So Sam Vokes now is playing up front alongside Ashley Barnes. And whether that's to try and get the ball up to them and try and exploit Nemanja Matic, who increasingly is coming forward, because Matic slotted back into the heart of the defence as part of the double change that Manchester United have made. United, though, still trailing by 2-1. Pogba has the shot charge down, comes back to Pogba, but that Burnley defence continues to stand firm.
I wonder if the best way here, Andy Reid, as Ian says, is to attack United as far as Burnley are concerned.
They're giving away a lot of territory. They've been pending as they would expect, and I think Sean Dyche is probably thinking, I'll get two big men on there, we can get the ball up to them early and maybe try and gain a little bit of territory, try and get out of our own 18-yard box, because they are getting penned in, and eventually the relentless pressure at Old Trafford, you would think that it's going to pay off at some point. So it might not be a bad move by Sean Dyche putting on the big man there.
Manchester United got a free kick some 25, 28 yards out. Whilst they wait to take that, Dern Tanner has news of another goal for Middlesbrough.
Yes, this time Asombalonga on the end of a lovely headed through from Braithwaite, and Asombalonga, in the kind of form he is not going to miss in front of goal in the box. So it's Middlesbrough 2, Bolton 0.
12 for the season for Asombalonga. Ian Dennis.
Well, this free kick, as you say, is just short of 30 yards out from goal. It's left of centre. It's in a similar position actually to where Defoe had earlier scored for Burnley to put them 2-0 up, but it's 2-1 to Burnley at the moment. Free kick in front of the Stretford end. Pogba runs up now, right-footed, goes for a curling effort with a little bit more pace. It was aimed to a similar area where Defoe hit it, but it killed over the top of the crossbar and out of play for a goal kick. And building up to that free kick, Bardsley was booked. So there's been numerous yellow cards being shown by referee Martin Atkinson, and Burnley will be testing the patience of the referee for persistent time wasting. And in fact, I think another yellow card is going to be shown and it's directed towards the goalkeeper, Nick Pope, for exactly that.
Let's go into the Championship and talk about the top four. Wolves held at lunchtime, the leaders at Millwall, 2-2. Cardiff in second, losing at home to Fulham by 2-1. Derby in third, being held at Hull. Could Bristol City capitalise this afternoon? They're in fourth, and there has been a goal at Ashton Gate. Hamish Marshall.
And it's a goal that could see them climb to second on the table, and it's come from substitute Jamie Patterson. Lovely pass from Bobby Reid, and from 20 yards out, the substitute Patterson flopped it into the top corner. Bristol City have been turning the screw for the last 20 minutes. They've got the goal to deserve. Bristol City 1, Reading 0.
There is a knowing nod from you, Andy Reid, there at news of Jamie Patterson scoring for Bristol City.
Yeah, I have to say I'm very fond of him. We played together at Forest. Billy Davis signed him at Forest, and he's a really good player, and somebody that I can't really believe the Forest let him go, to be honest. Which
he's been a great signing for Bristol City.
He's got a hell of a lot of ability. He's a lively character, and sometimes managers these days, they don't particularly like that, so you need a strong manager to manage him, kind of keep him on the right track. But it looks like Lee Johnson has certainly done that, and he's come up trumps today.
Fleetwood are now 2-0 up at Oldham. Ashley Hunter with that goal midway through the second half, and Portsmouth have regained the lead at home to AFC Wimbledon. Brett Pittman from the penalty spot, 13 for the season for Pittman. Another goal has come at Swindon. Lawrence Herdman.
Swindon 0, Luton 4. Swindon fans are streaming out of the county ground here. The latest goal for the leaders. Substitute Harry Cornick with a sublime curling shot from the edge of the area. And Luton are going clear at the top. It's 4-0.
Let's go back to Bournemouth, where I might as well just have "there's another chance" on a loop and then just play it rather than wasting my voice each time, John.
I'm sorry about this. I feel sorry for everyone else. It's 2-1 to Bournemouth, but West Ham really should be level. On the breakaway, Carroll flick on, Chicharito with the ball across, Arnautovic, the form he's in, 15 yards out, on his left foot, sliced it wide. 2-1 Bournemouth.
Who looks likely to take the lead at Huddersfield? Conor McNamara.
Proper end-to-end game now. They're taking turns for chances. Stoke feel they should have had a penalty. It's a huge shout just a few minutes ago. Mark Hughes was incensed that the referee didn't blow the whistle and point to the spot. It was Mame Biramdjouf into the penalty area, tried to turn the last defender. It looked like his legs were taken out from underneath him, but the referee wasn't far away, immediately slashed his arms across his chest to indicate play on, no penalty, and Huddersfield were mightily relieved to clear it away. It was a big call. It could have a big outcome in this game, but it's 1-1 for now.
Jack Marriott has got his second of the afternoon. Peterborough flying at Bradford. They lead by 3-0, and Marriott has now got 7 in his last 5. Antonio Conte starting to rotate his players at Stamford Bridge, probably thinking the game's won. John Southall.
I think he's probably right. Chelsea 2, Brighton 0. Eden Hazard has just made his way off the pitch here at Stamford Bridge. Willian has come on. Hazard's been terrific in this second half. Brighton have had a half chance, a glimmer. Kyle on the turn, falling back over the bar. They have to take those. Chelsea 2, Brighton 0.
Could Bournemouth have been home and hosed, John Akers?
Fraser can't believe he's missed the target at the far post. Francis kept his balance, put in a right foot cross on the far post, 10 yards out, left-footed, dragged it a yard wide. Bournemouth 2, West Ham 1.
Manchester United's delivery into the box needs to be better, Ian Dennis.
Yes, it does. It actually was Juan Mata, and I think he tried to be a little bit cheeky and chip Nick Pope from the left-hand side of the penalty area, but didn't get enough on it, and it was a lofted effort which was gathered in quite easily by Pope, the goalkeeper, above his head. So Burnley still lead 2-1, and we have about 16 minutes remaining of normal time.
Goal has gone in League 2. Yeovil have scored it at Cheltenham, so it's now Cheltenham 0, Yeovil 1. They're looking for their second win in 2 games there. Are Watford comfortable with their lead at home to Leicester? Mark Scott?
Yeah, just to clear one thing up as well, Mark, 2-1 to Watford. The goal has actually been credited as a Schmeichel own goal rather than one for Abdoulaye Doucouré. It was so tight from the byline when he hit it that it probably couldn't have been heading in until Schmeichel's intervention, when trying to parry it, he pushed it into the net. So Leicester will be kicking themselves deservedly ahead. 2 defensive errors are putting them on course to leave empty-handed. Claude Twell
throwing caution to the wind. Dragovic and Okazaki are off. Damari Gray and Islam Slimani are on.
Just the one goalless game in the Premier League at the moment. Rob Nothman's watching it.
And it remains goalless. West Brom against Everton, but my goodness, are West Brom knocking on the door. They've forced 6 corners in the last 7 minutes. They haven't been able, though, to get a meaningful effort on Pickford's goal. Still, they batter away, but they can't get this breakthrough. West Brom 0, Everton 0.
I tell you what, Andy Reid, you are right. I sit here a lot of Saturday afternoons in this studio with games going on, and there certainly doesn't normally feel the urgency that there is in all of these games. Well, maybe by the Chelsea-Brighton one, but there's real urgency in all the other games this afternoon.
Yeah, there's you know, and every time we go to one of the reporters, they're saying, you know, it's end to end. There's chances everywhere. There's corners. You know, there's tackles flying in. You know, really is. I don't know. It's something about this kind of festive period. It's so special for football fans and for players as well. You know, the fans going to the game over the festive period, and to get served up with the games that they're getting served up with today is absolutely fantastic.
Birmingham's miserable season continues. Bottom of the Championship, they're now 2-0 down at St Andrews. Josh Murphy's 8th of the season means that Norwich are 2-0 up. Team news from Anfield next. Alan Green.
Each team makes 4 changes. For the visitors, Spur, McBurney, Routledge and Ayew come in. Clucas, Narsingh, Dyer and Abraham drop out. For Liverpool, there's no Gomez, Lovren, Henderson and Mane. He's on the bench. In come Alexander-Arnold, Matip, Wijnaldum and Oxlade-Chamberlain.
Thank you very much. Let's go back to Huddersfield against Stoke. Conor McNamara.
Yeah, still 1-1. Interesting one here. Mame Biram Diouf has been booked for handball. He was running to it. The defender hacks the ball away in the volley, and he put his hands up in front of his face, ostensibly to protect his face. The ball's coming straight at him. Referee decided intentional handball because his hands were in the unnatural position. It's a yellow card for him. It seems a bit harsh, I have to say. 1-1.
Brighton are going to make a double substitution at Stamford Bridge. Have they got an injury, John Southall?
Yes, there's an injury just to my right in the penalty area. Just want to see who that is, just crouched down.
Solly March?
It might well be. The referee's just standing right in my way at the moment. He's got his red boots on. Now Lewis Dunk standing in his way. I think it might be Solly March. It is. You're right, over on the far side. And, well, at least this is an adventurous substitution from Chris Hughton, because Knockaert and Murray are both coming on. So for these final 12 minutes, they might as well give it a go. They're trailing Chelsea by 2-0.
Has Manchester United's pace just dropped a little, Ian Dennis?
Yes, I think it has, Mark. They're still trailing by 2-1, and when they reduced the arrears 8 minutes into the second half, that flick finish from Lingard, you thought that there was going to be a sustained spell of pressure from Manchester United, but I can't really, during the period since, think of a chance where the goalkeeper Pope has been overly extended. He's made saves, but they haven't created that one serious opportunity as they search for an equaliser.
And we're going to go back to Bournemouth, where they're on the attack again. John Akers.
It's Wilson in the penalty area on his left foot. Back it goes across. Should be cleared away by West Ham, who've made their 3rd and final substitution. Declan Rice is on for them. Don't rule out a goal from them on the breakaway. Bournemouth have had over 20 shots, I make it, in the game. They're attacking again. Fraser, Afobe, and again saved. Corner for Bournemouth. They lead 2-1 against West Ham. 12 minutes of normal time left.
What do you think's changed for them this afternoon?
Confidence, I guess. I don't know. They've had some tough games, haven't they? They really have, and I couldn't tell you. I really couldn't. They've had tough fixtures. They've just been at it today. They've just gone for it. They play lovely football here. They have done over the past 2 seasons. But today, they've just played with complete fluidity. They've left holes at the other end, though. Don't rule out West Ham equaliser.
Carlisle back ahead in League 2 at home to Accrington Stanley. Sean Miller has got that goal. 8 for the season for him. Accrington staring at a 5th defeat in 5 games. Conor McNamara.
Penalty appeal for Huddersfield turned down. I think it was a good challenge by Kevin Vimmer in the penalty area. He had to stretch. He had no margin for error, but he got the ball. He put it out for a corner, which has just been swung in. Chance for Kwana at the back post. He's taking a time over this. Moy tries to drill it in. Good defending, Choupo-Moting, and Stoke are able to clear away. We've got 10 minutes to go. Huddersfield 1, Stoke 1.
Who's on top at West Brom? Rob Nothman.
Well, what a chance here for West Brom. 0-0, 7.5 minutes left. They have a free kick right in the middle of the D, just 20 yards out. It's either going to be Brunt or Matty Phillips to take it. Pickford is bobbing up and down in his orange kit behind a masked wall with some West Brom players in there to try and distract him. Up comes Brunt, here's Phillips, and it's over the bar and into the crowd. What an anti-climax. 7 minutes left, it's 0-0.
Now this could be a big goal at the top of the Championship. Fulham were 2-1 up at Cardiff. There's been another goal. Carl Roberts.
Fulham now lead 3-1, Mark. Ryan Sessegnon with a goal that has but killed this tie, and it was a fantastic goal. He's only 17, he's 18 in May. It's his 4th goal against Cardiff City already in his young career. The ball was played into the centre of the field by the substitute Rui Fonte. Sessegnon, quick as a flash on his left foot, got there before the Cardiff defender, kept his cool, and a low left foot shot past Neil Etheridge in the goal. 11 minutes to go. It's Cardiff City 1, Fulham 3.
What a talent he is. Any chance of a West Ham equaliser, John Akers?
Yes, and then another chance for Bournemouth right off the back of it. Carroll swivelling on the volley. Great connection with his left foot outside the box. Begovic, a smart save straight up the other end. Bournemouth with a chance at the far post with Wilson, saved by Adrian Lowe down to his left again. It's incredible, this game, I can't tell you. Corner for Bournemouth on the far side.
Back to Ian Dennis at Old Trafford,
where we have 9 minutes of normal time remaining, and it's still Manchester United 1, Burnley 2, and Manchester United could be suffering their first home league defeat on Boxing Day in 39 years as Burnley protect this slender advantage. They've just made another change of Burnley. John Walters coming on to replace Ashley Barnes, who gave Burnley a 3rd-minute lead. But Manchester United, despite seeing the ball, not creating the opportunities because Burnley's defence continues to stand firm.
Adebayo Akinfenwa has got a second for Wickham. Wickham 2, Newport 0, 12 for the season for him. And you may have just heard John Akers in the background say goal. It's not surprising given the number of chances that you've had.
No, but it's come for West Ham, and I just feel sorry for Asmir Begovic, the goalkeeper. It's hammering down with rain. He's gone to clear it on his right foot, and he's ended up on his backside. Arnautovic is there just to pick the ball up off him and pass it left-footed into an empty net. It really is embarrassing for Begovic. You've got to feel for him. But West Ham are level with 9 minutes plus stoppage time remaining. 2-2.
Oh, my word.
Yeah, listen, I never feel sorry for goalkeepers, to be honest with you. I never really have. They don't feel sorry for us when we go try and put one in the top corner and they pull out a great save. So.
But...
Oh, he's a little bit unlucky.
Very, very unlucky. And the look on Eddie Howe's face is... well, you'll see on Match of the Day later, you know, who would be a manager when you see something like that happen. But it is Bournemouth 2, West Ham 2. 10 minutes to go at Vale Park, and Port Vale have taken the lead against Coventry. It's Port Vale 1, Coventry 0. Back to John Southall at Stamford Bridge.
Where N'Golo Kante's making his way off the pitch. The 3rd substitution now for Chelsea. Danny Drinkwater coming on. Chelsea lead by 2-0. And after that early goal in this second half, it's been ever so comfortable for Chelsea, who look like they're going to take the 3 points. Chelsea 2, Brighton 0.
Let's see if Leicester are close to getting an equaliser at Watford. Mark Scott.
Not at the moment, Mark. There's plenty of huff and puff, but no real penetration. In fact, it's Watford who had an opportunity to extend their lead just a minute ago. Chilwell with the error, caught in possession, cleverly picked his pocket, burst into the area, hit across Schmeichel, and not far wide of the post. Leicester lacking ideas at the moment. Still Watford 2, Leicester 1.
Have Manchester United got ideas? Ian Dennis.
Not at the moment. There's no width to Manchester United's play in these closing stages. It's all going through the centre. So the back line of Burnley in the white, as they protect the goal away to my left in front of the Stretford end, and the midfield are quite narrow. So every time they get the ball out wide, they always drift in field. So it's quite frustrating for the home support. We've got about 6 minutes of normal time remaining. Manchester United, though, have just been awarded a free kick, but they still trail by 2-1.
8 for the season for Daniel Granger. Carlisle look like they'll get all 3 points against Accrington. They lead by 3-1. Are there any Swindon fans left at the county ground? Lawrence Herdman.
It's fairly empty, Chappers. Swindon 0, Luton 5. The leaders blitzing Swindon in the second half here. here. The latest goal, substitute Elliot Lee. Lovely run across the face of the Swindon box and curled into the far corner. 5-goal salvo. Swindon 5 down.
Andy Reid, given how Burnley are playing, you can see them catching United on the break, can't you?
Yeah, it looks that way. Having said that, Rashford is just breaking forward now. But the Man United's delivery into the box today has been so poor from the wide areas. It really, really has. Numerous occasions, not just from set pieces and from open play. The balls into the box have been really, really poor. Burnley have been clearing it quite easily, and as you say, quite looking like they could hit them on the break.
Considering they have players who ought to provide them width, it's normally the fullbacks who deliver the best delivery for them, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it is. I mean, the attacking players that they've got do like to drift in off them wide areas and get on the ball in between the lines. So when that happens, you want your fullbacks to stay as wide as possible. But it just hasn't really. When they have got on the ball, it's just been really, really poor delivery. And it's not good enough from a team like Manchester United and a club like Manchester United.
It's going to be all 3 points for Rotherham this afternoon. They lead Bury by 3-0 now. It means just 1 win in 11 for Bury, who are bottom of League One, and Oldham have pulled one back at home to Fleetwood. Keane Bryan has got that goal. Oldham 1, Fleetwood 2. Aurelio Gomez is protecting Watford's lead at the moment. Mark Scott.
That's right, Mark. 2 brilliant saves to deny Leicester a leveller. First of all, Wes Morgan couldn't believe that from his swivel and hit from close range, Gomez made himself big and just beat it away with the pair of paws that he has from the resulting corner. Leonardo Ulloa, who's only just come on from the bench with a towering header. Gomez down well to save smartly, and that might be enough for Watford to take all 3 points. They lead 2-1, 4 minutes to go.
Back to Ian Dennis at Old Trafford.
And we have 4 minutes of normal time remaining. Jose Mourinho now acting as the ball boy to retrieve the ball and giving it to Rashford, that's hurriedly taken, urged on by this Old Trafford crowd that by and large has tried to stay put to urge them on, but Burnley still lead by 2-1. Matic from the back out to Rashford. He's continued his run, left corner of the penalty area, and then it goes behind Shaw, and the move breaks down, and those white shirts of Burnley will once again clear up towards Vokes.
Any sign of a winner at Bournemouth, John Akers?
Yeah, there really is. The game has never changed. It's just been attack, attack, attack from both teams since the game started, but both teams now look level in terms of their possession. West Ham had been playing catch-up really until they brought Carroll and Chicharito on, and Arnautovic. Those front three started going at it. Bournemouth have been in the ascendancy, but Bournemouth have just got a free kick, centre field, 30 yards out. It's 2-2, and we've got about 5 minutes left plus stoppage time.
And I suppose it's the same question to Conor McNamara. Any sign of a winner at Huddersfield?
Well, they both look dangerous every time they come forward. Still Huddersfield 1, Stoke 1. Tommy Smith got into the penalty area there, but his attempted cross was blocked out for a throw-in. They're both going at it. They both believe they can win, but time very much running out. Less than 2.5 minutes of normal time to go. Huddersfield 1, Stoke 1.
We'll change it slightly for Rob Nothman. Any sign of a goal?
Well, West Brom continue to press. We're into the first minute of 3 of stoppage time. It remains 0-0. West Brom still on the attack. Recently, though, Niasse had Everton's first effort, which was saved by Ben Foster. But still, West Brom press. They cannot get a goal. It's 0-0.
It's the same for several sides. Huddersfield back on the attack. Conor McNamara.
Yes, and they win themselves a corner on the right-hand side. Tommy Smith, who's playing like an out-and-out right winger now, let alone a right back. Peter Crouch is sprinting back to help out the defence. Aaron Moy goes across to take the corner. Huddersfield just banging on the door here. I think Stoke will be distraught if they were to lose this late on after the impressive win against West Brom last time out. Huddersfield, here comes the corner. Moy sends it in, headed away by Mame Biramchou for the front post. We're into the last minute now, 1-1.
Ian Dennis, Sean Dyche is bellowing at his players.
He is, and he's only got another 60 seconds plus added on time to see out what would be Burnley's first league win at Old Trafford since 1962, but United are going to come again. The other thing to say as well is we've got the commentary coming up from Anfield. What a fillip this would be for Liverpool as well, bearing in mind that they need the 3 points to keep pace with the likes of Chelsea and Tottenham.
Bradford pulled one back at home to Peterborough. They're 3-1 down there. Notts County now 4-0 up at Morecambe. Lincoln leads Stevenage 3-0. And oh, Bournemouth. John Akers.
Would you believe it? West Ham have come from 2-1 down to lead 3-2. It's Arnautovic again. There's a mini pitch invasion from some of the West Ham players. Scrappy. Again, you've got to look at Begovic. He couldn't gather Chikorito's shot. Chikorito should have scored at the far post after a terrific cross from Masuaku. But Bournemouth have had 7 shots on target, 7 shots off target. They've battered West Ham at times, and they trail 3-2 with a minute of normal time left.
Oh, you'd have to look at the goalkeeper again, wouldn't you there, Andy?
Yeah, I think he could have done a little bit better, and although I said earlier I don't feel sorry for goalkeepers, I feel sorry for Eddie Howe, looking at his face there after that. The chances they've had, they'll be absolutely distraught, and you wonder what a result like this can have on the effect on the rest of the season on them. This can be seriously damaging for them. They've really dominated the game. Although there's been chances at both ends, but the chances that Bournemouth have had, they will be absolutely distraught if they lose this game.
Bournemouth would be in the bottom 3. West Ham will be up to 13th as things stand. 4 minutes of added time at Huddersfield, 5 at Old Trafford, Ian Dennis.
Yes, we've just gone into those 5 minutes now as well. Jack Cork has been penalised for kicking the ball away. By my calculations, he's the 7th Burnley player to receive a yellow card today. Juan Mata stands over this free kick. It's midway through the Burnley half. Referee Martin Atkinson, though. Everybody's back for Burnley as they still lead by 2-1. Martin Atkinson having a word with Romelu Lukaku, and I think it's John Walters. So Mata to deliver the free kick. Everybody's in the half away to our left-hand side. It's scooped forward now. Comes off me, hasn't been dealt with, headed away by me, down by Ashley Young into a crowded penalty area, and Manchester United, through Jesse Lingard, have salvaged an injury time equaliser. It popped to Lingard, he struck it right-footed, Pope was flat-footed, couldn't see anything about that, and Manchester United, who were 2-0 down, have salvaged something on Boxing Day. 2-2.
Blackpool have pulled one back at home to Scunthorpe. Sean Longstaff with that goal, his 6th of the season. They're still in with a chance in League One, and now John Akers, the ball has been in the back of the net at Bournemouth, but
it's been ruled out, I think, for offside. The assistant's flag is up, but Bobby Madley's carrying the ball over to him now to have a chat. Nathan Ake's header didn't look much wrong with it. Was Callum Wilson interfering with play? They're having a chat now, doing the covering the mouth thing. You know how they do that? Yeah. Let's see what happens. There's a melee of players all around it. This would be for 3-3 for Bournemouth. Both of them, they look like Mitchell brothers having a chat, the assistant and the referee here, trying to work out whether this is a goal or not. It would be massive for Bournemouth down at the foot of the table. They were 2-1 up. Ake's already scored one in the game. They're still debating it.
They are, and Simon Francis keeps going in for a chat. James Collins keeps going in for a chat.
Goal! Goal for Bournemouth!
I think more like the Chuckle Brothers, more like there, isn't it?
Equaliser! 3-3 mark. There's a fan on the pitch. This game has had everything. Don't rule out one of these teams winning it. A knee slide from the fan into the corner. Ake's goal will stand. Wilson not interfering. 3-3.
Well, Wilson not interfering, except on the replay, he's handballed it. He's punched it in. Well, he's not punched it, it's hit his arm, actually, to be accurate. But that's hit his arm, John, on the way in.
He's handballed it. It's definitely come off the bicep, I would say, the right bicep of Wilson. Huge controversy. They chatted about it for ages. Was he offside? Doesn't matter, it was handball.
Andy Reid, that's an awful decision. That is awful.
They've got it wrong twice there. It's offside and it's handball as well. And they spent that long deliberating. It's a really poor decision, and maybe you say Bournemouth deserve to get a little bit of luck from how they played, but that's a poor decision from the referee and linesman there. They looked like they didn't know what they were doing, to be honest with you.
Let's go back to Ian Dennis at Old Trafford.
We're inside the last 2 minutes of added on time. Manchester United, who are 2-0 down, have got it back to 2-2. They've launched the ball long. It's a header back by Taylor, and it's scooped up on the edge of the penalty area by Pope. And Sean Dyche, who was so close to getting their first win here since 1962, although it would still be a useful point to add to the ones they collected at Tottenham and Liverpool, but unable to match 3 points that they managed against Chelsea on the opening weekend. But you still wouldn't rule out United just yet if they could get one last attack.
Right, back with you in just a moment. Final whistle has gone at the Hawthorns, first of all. Rob Noffman.
West Brom 0, Everton 0. Aching frustration for West Brom. They dominated the game, crosses galore. They just couldn't score. Not too much wrong with the performance. Everton were poor, but Big Sam has another clean sheet. It's finished 0-0.
Manchester United back on the attack. Ian Dennis.
Mata out towards Young, right-hand side, level the penalty area. Arfield goes with him, still hasn't delivered the ball. Behind him is Mata, right corner of the penalty area. In comes the cross now. Mee heads the ball up rather than away, and Nick Pope will make that leaping catch. A leap of faith, you could say, from Pope as he gathers that ball and stays down inside the 6-yard area. And by my watch, we've only got about 20 seconds of added on time remaining.
Final whistle has gone at Stamford Bridge. We'll get details from John Southall in a moment. Chelsea have taken all 3 points. They won by 2 goals to 0. Sheffield United have beaten Sunderland in the Championship. Cardiff have got one back at home to Fulham, but they still trail by 3 goals to 2. The Vidi Printer service has given that Bournemouth goal to Callum Wilson. It will be very interesting to see what the officials say, or what we get from the officials afterwards, because that came off Callum Wilson's arm and he looked offside. Bournemouth 3, West Ham 3. Still a latest. Final whistle has gone, Ian Dennis.
Yes, it has, and it's finished Manchester United 2, Burnley 2. Burnley were 2-0 up at half-time. Ashley Barnes gave them a 3rd-minute lead. Super free kick by Defoe 9 minutes before the break. Manchester United better possession, created very little. Pope only made 2 worthwhile saves during that period. However, they made a double change with Lingard and Mkhitaryan at half-time, and Lingard quickly reduced the arrears after just moments earlier, from close range, he saw an effort deflected off Pope onto the crossbar, but a fine flick finish made it 2-1, and then Lingard, with the 2nd goal of the afternoon in the 91st minute, manages to protect this long unbeaten home record on Boxing Day, stretching back to 1978. But for Manchester United's top 4 aspirations, definitely 2 points dropped.
Bristol City are going to get all 3 points at home to Reading. They've just scored through Lloyd Kelly in the 3rd minute of stoppage time. They lead by 2 goals to 0. Details of Chelsea's win from John Southall.
All very straightforward for the champions. Chelsea 2, Brighton 0. The opening goal 52 seconds into the second half. Morata ghosting in behind Lewis Dunk to head in. The second from Alonso 14 minutes later, and that was game done. 6 successive home wins, 9 victories from 12, but 13 points behind the